The views and opinions expressed by the program host do not necessarily state or reflect the official views and position of Sunshine Radio DZR 1026 Manila, Suarez Media Corporation, and Sunshine Media Network International.
Tapang at malasakit.
Ang malasakit ay binibigay sa mga taong nangangailangan.
Kailangan bukal sa kalooban ng pagtulong.
Pagbigay ng kung anong meron pa, nung kaya mo.
At malasakit.
Ang malasakit, magsasakripisyo ka. Ang pagtulong ay walang pinipiling oras.
Kagaya ni Mr. Malasakit, Senator Bongo, disyo ang magserbisyo.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
Bago matapos ang araw, ating suriin, ating himayin ang mga maiinit na impormasyon at balita na kinalap ng SMNI Integrated News and Public Affairs. Live mula sa ACQ Tower, Makati City, ito ang SMNI Nightline News with MJ and Admar.
Isang magandang Martes ng gabi mga kapartner. Narito na ang ulo ng ating mga balita. Malinis sa tapat na pamamahala ng gobyerno, nais ni Pastor Apollo C. QUIBOLOY na maranasan ng mga Pilipino. Mga hakbang para tuluyang wakasan ng korupsyon sa Pilipinas, inilatag ng butihing pastor.
Dating palace official hindi naniniwala na na-overwhelm ang mga flood control projects kaya bumaha.
Pagkilos naman ng bagyong Marce, mahigpit na binabantayan ng pamahalaan. Puspusang paghahanda isinasagawa na, ayon po yan sa Department of National Defense.
Inflation o bilis ng pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin bumilis pa sa 2.3% nitong Oktubre ayon sa Philippine Statistics Authority.
At Senador Bato de la Rosa kinontra ang desisyon ni Senate President Escudero na bigyan ng transcript ng Senate hearing ang ICC. Tutukan niyo po ang detalye ng mga balitang yan at marami pang mga impormasyon dito po sa ating programang SMNI Nightline News ngayon pong gabi ng Martes, 5 sa buwan ng Nobyembre taong 2025. 2024. Live na po tayong napapanood sa ating mga partner cable channels, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Tayo rin po ay naka-live stream na sa ating mga YouTube channel, Facebook pages, maging sa rumble.com at SMNI.com. Kaya muli, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Kami po inyong makakasama. Admar Vilando po at sa pangalan muli ni MJ Mondihar, makakasama natin Jayson Rubrico.
Magandang gabi, partner Admar, at magandang gabi sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan sa mampanig kayo ng Pilipinas at sa buong mundo.
Samantala, bagyo update muna tayo dahil ang bagyong Marce ay nasa typhoon kategory na po mga kapartners. Lumakas pa ito habang tinatahak ang Philippine Sea sa silangan po ng Isabela. Huling namataan ang sentro ng bagyo sa layong 480 kilometro silangan po ng Etchage, Isabela. Kumikilos po ang bagyo pa hilagang kanluran sa bilis na 25 kilometro kada oras. Sa kasalukuyan ay nasa 130 kilometers per hour na ang lakas ng hangin ng bagyong Marce malapit sa gitna at pagbugsong aabot po sa 160 kilometers per hour. Sa kasalukuyan, nasa signal number 1 na po ang lalawigan ng Batanes. Kabilang na ang Cagayan at Babuyan Island sa Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Apayao, Abra, Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao at northern portion ng Benguet, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino at ang hilagang bahagi ng Aurora. Posible po na maglandfall ang bagyo sa bahagi ng Babuyan Islands o di kaya ay sa northern portion ng mainland Cagayan hapon po ng Huwebes o di kaya ay sa gabi ng Huwebes, November 7. Posible namang nasa labas na ng Philippine Area of Responsibility sa araw po ng Biyernes ng hapon o di kaya ay sa Biyernes ng gabi ang bagyong Marce. Samantala, malinis at tapat na pamamahala ng gobyerno ang nais ni Pastor Apollo C. QUIBOLOY na maranasan ng mga Pilipino. Upang makamit yan, isa sa pangunahing susugpuin ng butihing pastor ang tanikalang gumagapos at pumipigil sa pag-unlad ng Pilipinas at yan ay ang korupsyon. Paano nga ba ito gagawin ni Pastor Apollo? Narito ang balita ni Hannah Jane Sancho.
Isa sa pangunahing plataforma ni Pastor Apollo C. QUIBOLOY ang pagsusulong ng zero corruption sa gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Inilahad ni Attorney Kay Laurente ang mga hangarin ni Pastor Apollo sakaling maging senador. Unang ang re-resolbahin ng butihing pastor ang talamak na korupsyon sa gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng modernisasyon.
Number 1, kailangan ng clean government. So sa clean government, which I will also elaborate later on, is about dun isosolve yung corruption. So after na clean government, pag na-solve na yung corruption, then comes yung strategic human resource development. So i-enhance niya yung mga talents, yung mga skills ng mga Filipino workers, kahit yung mga OFWs, that they will opt to work here in the Philippines. And after that, pag na-develop na yung mga talents and skills ng mga Filipinos, then comes the third strategy for the modernization, and that is yung kumbaga yung performance management naman. Yung kung ano yung doon nagkakaroon ng minimum standards para sa lahat ng mga government employees. Ano yung mga minimum standards? Kailangan maging accountable sila. Kailangan maging kumbaga zero corruption, dyan din papasok, and transparent din sila. So merong mga ethical standards that they should follow. So pagkatapos, pag andyan na yung performance management, yung pang-apat naman, service-oriented, kasi well-equipped na yung mga human resource natin. So papasok na ngayon yung service-oriented. So nakalay down din yan. So yung pang-5 naman sa 5 modernization of Philippine governance is doon na papasok yung self-reliant na government. So kailangan, before we reach that self-reliant government, sabi pa ni Pastor, kailangan maging clean government tayo.
Ipinahag rin daw ni Pastor Apollo na para maisulong ang modernisasyon, ito'y kailangan munang maging malinis at mapagkakatiwalaan ng gobyerno pagdating sa paghawak ng kaban ng bayan.
Number 1 talaga, to resolve the problem about the corruption is, andun ang sa transactions, magiging digitalized yan. So, sa pag-digitalization na, kumbaga, sabi pa ni Pastor, kasi nga strict ang anti-corruption practices measures natin. Pag digitalize na yan, whenever you have government transaction, for example, application or renewal of licenses, or magbayad ka ng taxes, or even magbayad ka ng mga penalties mo kasi nga may may na problema kasi nag-overspeeding ka. Lahat yan digitalize. So hindi na dadaan sa tao yung pera. Diretso siya sa kaban ng bayan. That is how you prevent also corruption. So diretso na yung bayad sa kaban ng bayan.
Nais ding tanggalin ni Pastor Apollo ang liquidation by certification at palitan ng liquidation by receipt, kung saan hahanapan na resibo ang bawat politiko sa gobyerno.
Number 1 din yung liquidation by certification. Ire-repeal na yan, tatanggalin na talagang, i-abolish na yan. So what's happening right now, we have this liquidation by certification, that's resolution number 10, wherein yung Senate at saka Congress, pwede sila mag-liquidate lang sa lahat ng mga expenditures nila through certification. Pero that will be repealed. Sabi pa ni Pastor, dapat talaga liquidation by certification. So lahat ng nagastos, lahat ng expenditure, dapat naka-itemize yan. Saan mo ginamit? Para saan? So, ganon ka-strict dapat ang when we go to the liquidation by certification, i-abolish na siya. So, dapat liquidation by receipt. Resibo na siya.
Ang mga liquidation na ito ay susuriin naman ng Truth Commission na isang anti-corruption commission. Ito ay bubuin ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino. Gusto kasi ni Pastor Apollo na mismo mga Pilipino ang sumuri kung saan ginastos ng mga leader ng bayan ang pera mula sa buwis ng mamamayan.
And in relation to that, meron din siyang Truth Commission. So once may liquidation by certification, na-find out na, oy, may problem tong sa dito sa liquidation niya, kulang-kulang. So, ang may magbubuo ng Truth Commission or Anti-Corruption Commission. So, yung Truth Commission na yon, they will be given the power to investigate and the power also to prosecute. Sila din yung magagather ng evidence. So, ang maganda dito sa proposal ni Pastor, magiging proposal if he becomes a Senator of the Philippines, is that ang magiging part ng commission na ito is ordinary Filipino citizen. Sabi pa ni Pastor, ang pag-explain niya, magiging pa siyang jury. So pera kasi, we're talking about ng pera ng bayan.
Ito ay ilan lamang sa mga hakbang na nais na ipatupad ni Pastor Apollo upang tuluyang masugpo ang korupsyon na matagal nang bumibihag sa mga Pilipino. Abangan ang iba pang plataforma ni Pastor Apollo QUIBOLOY sa mga programa ng SMNI at alamin ang mga hakbang na nais itong isulong para tuluyang makalaya ang Pilipinas mula sa kamay ng mga ganid at sakit na politiko. Para sa Diyos at Pilipinas kumahal, ito si Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Samantala, para pag-usapan pa ang iba pang mga panukala at nais po na butihing pastor, lalo na kung mananalo ito sa darating na midterm election, ay muli nating makakasama si Attorney Kay Laurente. Attorney Kay, magandang gabi. Maying gabi muli sa iyo.
Magandang gabi. Good evening, Admar and Jayson, and good evening sa lahat ng mga televiewers, taga-subaybay po ng ating SMNI Nightline News.
At isa sa mga magandang pag-usapan ngayon dahil ngayong araw na ito doon sa Amerika ay ang panahon ng butuhan. No? Election po ngayon doon sa Amerika, pero mayroon ng mga nag-early vote, pero ngayon po yung tinakdang araw para sa election po nila doon. At alam natin na yung Amerika ay may connection din o relasyon din sa Pilipinas. At mga foreign policy natin minsan nakalin doon, lalo na sa kasalukuyang administrasyon. Sa mga nakalipas na mga administrasyon, iba-iba din yung kanilang mga foreign policy. Ano naman ang magiging foreign policy o pananaw ng butihing pastor para sa ating bansa?
Yes, talking about foreign policy, Admar, no? So para kay Pastor Apollo QUIBOLOY, ang foreign policy niya is it will always depend on our national policy. So ano ba yung national policy natin? Of course, andyan dapat independent, sovereign country ang Philippines. So may one vision, and that is becoming Ang agenda talaga is magiging first world country. Yun ang magiging trajectory. Lalo na pag magkakaroon tayo ng clean governance, self-reliant governance. So, nung tinanong din si Pastor, ano magiging magiging foreign policy mo? He always emphasized, when talking about the international policy, sabi niya, ang cornerstone talaga, when you decide on the international policy for the country, sabi ni Pastor, dapat it will always achieve the peaceful, prosperous, and stable life for every Filipino citizens. Balik na naman tayo dun sa PPS. Again, if you fail to achieve the PPS, then you're a failure government. Kaya, ang magiging relationship natin with other countries, sabi niya, okay, we will welcome all countries, welcome all global leaders. If our relationship with other countries will contribute to that PPS, then we will welcome them. Okay, join us. But if our relationship with that country will only be inimical to the Philippine interest and will only fail to achieve that PPS, then I think, sabi ni Pastor, we will have to reconsider about our relationship with them and find another country who can help us achieve that PPS goal. So, ganun ang nagiging foreign policy ni Pastor. So, again, balik tayo dun sa PPS. So, alam mo ba, gusto kong i-share, sabi nga ni Pastor, if you want to become a first world country, dapat first world din ang infrastructure mo.
Tama.
Yes, kasi nga, parang isa sa pinaka-importante sa first world infrastructure is yung national transportation network mo or modern transportation network mo.
Tama.
So si Pastor, he is always thinking about the Philippine interest ngayon. So sa Philippine interest nga, every morning when he wakes up, what is the best for this country? Kaya naisip niya po itong modern transportation network or the national superhighway system. Actually, he prepared a video. Talagang siya nag-direct nito. Wow. Itong magiging video na we will be playing, ito kasi, nakalagay dito is creation of a modern transportation network. Sa transportation network na to, may two-way bullet train network going north and south. The route nito, it will be interconnecting all major urban areas as well as yung mga major tourist destinations from Apari to Jolo. So may two-way bullet train system tayo, and alongside of this two-way bullet train is meron tayong 4 lanes na highway. So imagine yan. So yung video, ayan. Yan po ang vision ni Pastor para sa ating modern transportation network. So it will connect all major urban areas and tourist destinations. Ayan, sa Banawe, Rice Terraces. Tapos
dito, sa Metro Manila.
Yan, sa Metro Manila. Dadaan yan.
Papuntang Bicol Region. Yan, Bicol Region na yan. Papuntang Eastern Visayas. May papunta rin ng Palawan, may Maropa area. At railway system, merong
Palawan
tren.
yan?
Ayan, dyan naman sa Eastern Visayas na area at sa, Bicol pa pala.
Yes.
Bicol. Tapos sa baba niyan, diretso na sa So, yung mga major destination talaga, yung mga malalaking area, kasi malimit lang ang meron tayo niyan, talagang barko ang nagko-connecta dyan, and pag national highway, pahirapan din, kailangan mo mag-bus. Pero sa pamamagitan yan, mas mapapabilis na ang pagbabiyahe, mas mabilis din yung madadaanan ng ruta na yan, Attorney Kay, mabilis din yung pag-unlad.
Yes,
diba?
that's true.
Hindi mo napipiliin na pupunta dito sa Metro Manila dahil for sure, ang lugar nila dyan sa mga probinsya, uunlad na rin sa pamamagitan ng ganyang proyekto.
Oo nga. So yan, Cebu na, C-Clex. Sa Cebu, connected yan lahat.
And napansin ko lang, Attorney Kay, yung modern transportation network na binubuo ngayon ni Pastor, yung visualize ni Pastor, nakikita highlights yung mga yung mga tourist sites natin.
Yes, exactly. So eto, hindi lang siya, kasi sinasabi nga ni Pastor, yung modern transportation network na to, ayun, may Kingdom pa, dadaan pa sa Kingdom, di ba? Sa Davao City, highlights din yan. So ito kasing modern transportation network, sinasabi ni Pastor, ito yung kumbaga veins sa isang, kung sa katawan pa, siya yung nagdi-distribute ng mga nutrients, ng mga oxygen sa lahat ng parts of your body. It will distribute. And then, pag ito naman ang maglilinis, ito lang, dadaan yan sa veins lahat. So, dito, once na up to the remotest barangay, meron pong transportation system, abot po yan silang lahat. So, mas mapapalago yung local economies. And it will boost also the tourism in each LGUs. So, makita mo magiging independent na. Yun nga, di ba, yun ang gusto natin. Gusto ni Pastor, magiging self-reliant na ang government natin. So ito, maraming maraming impact ito. Number one nga, tama ka, yung economic impact. Kasi nga, dadaan yan, lalo na sa tourist destinations, talagang, pinag-isipan talaga ni Pastor. Although meron na tayong existing na national highway, ang gusto ni Pastor, i-connect na lang yon. O yan, nakikita niyo yan, yung existing yung white. I-connect yan yung yellow, kasi nga, di ba, archipelago to, different islands. So, dapat nakakonect para mas mapabilis ang transportation lang lahat ng mga agricultural products. And ang gusto pa ni Pastor, since direct na from the agriculture, from the farmers, diretso na siya, wala nang middleman. Kaya mas makokontrol na yung pricing system. Controlled na yung price ng mga... so, maibawasan na ito yung mataas yung presyo ng bigas, ng mga gulay, kasi wala nang middleman. Because kung meron tayong modernized and national transportation system, direct na, galing sa agriculturist, papunta doon sa warehouse, tapos from warehouse, pwede diretso na sa market or groceries. So, kumbaga, it will also help our farmers, our fishermen, and it will also, again, improve yung mga local na mga products natin. So yan, isa yon sa economic natin na impact. Aside from that is, yun nga, dahil sa tourism, na point out mo yon, kumbaga, we can also employ more Filipino workers, especially OFWs. Sa construction pa lang ng infrastructure na ito, ng modernized transportation system na ito, it can even create about 10 million jobs. Yun ang napoproject nito kasi ganito kalaki. From the creation, from the architectural, from the building, engineering, lahat yan. And also, yung mga tourist destinations, magiging modernized na yan, di ba? Tapos, even yung mga accommodations, mai-improve na yan. Kasi madali na lang, mapupuntahan na. So, yun ang magiging impact din economically. And at the same time also, aside sa economic impact niya, is meron din siyang environmental considerations. So aside sa, syempre, lahat ng mga major tourist hubs natin, talagang accessible na para sa lahat ng mga, not only from Philippines, but even foreigners abroad. So ang mangyayari niyan is just to maintain the cleanliness. Naisip din to ni Pastor, ha? Gagawa din siya. He will also propose a bill called NCNC. May National Commission for Cleanliness, National Commission for National Cleanliness. NCNC. Ito, National Cleanliness Drive ang gagawin ni Pastor. So lahat ng mga jobless na mga Filipino workers, Filipinos, ang gagawin is, sige, dito kayo. You will maintain the cleanliness from north to south. Talagang mag-maintain. Kasi nga, di ba, we are already showcasing the very beautiful Philippines all over the world. So, ang mag-maintain niya, lahat ng jobless na so ma-hire na sila at ma-maintain pa ang kagandahan at kalinisan. Kasi sabi ni Pastor, a dirty environment will only invite criminality. So, kaya, aside sa naisip na yung modernization, naisip na yung economic impact, at naisip din ni Pastor, yung, syempre, every nook and corner ng Pilipinas dapat malinis. And again, balik tayo, may Exhibit A si Pastor. Nagawa niya po yan sa the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Every nook and corner, talagang nasa na yan, nasa dugo na yan ni Pastor na dapat i-maintain ang cleanliness. Kasi doon nga sumusunod, nagpa-follow yung mga blessings galing sa ating Ama. So the same also he will apply because knowing that principle that again, a dirty environment will only invite criminality. Kaya ang NCNC will also solve our problem about yung marumi, and yung kumbaga, basura. So it will also resolve that problem.
And eventually, Attorney K, parang nakikita ko na yung gustong mangyari ni Pastor. Kasi kapag, di ba, yun yung palaging pinopromote ni Pastor sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ, na kapag malinis yung environment, automatically, yung tao na nandun sa environment na yun, automatically magiging malinis yung mind, yung heart niya. And then eventually, yung mga tao doon, parang nawawala na yung mga krimen.
Yes.
Yan yung parang na-visualize ni Pastor na gusto niyang mangyari dito sa Pilipinas na makakatulong talaga para umunlad yung bansa natin.
Oo, that's true. Kaya nga ang gusto talaga i-change ni Pastor is not just the modernization of the transportation and also the infrastructure. Lalong-lalo na yung mindset, yung Filipino mentality. Dapat gone are the days na tinatawag tayo Indios, Slavish. But instead, he wants us to have that first world mentality na always thinking about the best interest for this country. So yun ang always talaga ituturo. Yun nga, like I've said before in this interview, kumbaga, he will really take time to impute that wisdom to every Filipino citizen. He will go to the farthest barangay just to teach them about loving our country, taking care of our country, and also every other day talagang na national speech siya. He has this platform, he has SMNI para i-share also sa buong Pilipinas at sa buong mundo ang yung secrets, how he did it in the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. That is again his micro project, and now he will apply it to the Philippines.
Alam mo, Attorney K, ito based on experience kasi meron tayong mga kaibigan, mga kababayan na pumupunta sa Prayer Mountain, pumupunta sa Glory Mountain. That's the Exhibit A of our beloved pastor. And nakita natin kung gaano kalinis ang lugar. And then, something they will feel na parang there's calming effect, there's peace of mind, na kumbaga nare-relax yung mga tao. And imagine if yan yung nakikita ng ating mga kababayan sa buong Pilipinas.
Correct. Sabi nga, di ba, every time yung may magbibisita sa Kingdom Compound, sa Prayer Mountain, Glory Mountain, pwede pala? Ba? Kaya pala? So, yun nga, it takes a leader. The success or failure of an organization depends on the leader. Kung ang leader kasi may ganyang utak, and then everyone will just follow. The same also with the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Kasi si Pastor always, excellence is a norm. Okay? Kasi if you have not done it excellently, you have done nothing. Ganun po yung turo ni Pastor. And again, most of the members of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, hindi yan kumbaga, mayayaman. Hindi yan sa mga very rich families, well-off family, or may maraming degree, doctorate, economics ka, anong degree dyan. Yun lang, naturuan lang talaga ni Pastor, mentality shift, first world mentality, and also having that ownership mentality, knowing na amin to, alagaan ko to. So ganun po ang pagturo ni Pastor, lalo na sa kanyang mga subordinates.
And Attorney K, gusto ko lang balikan yung modern transportation network na vision ng ating pinakamamahal na pastor. Eh, kung mabubuo ito, magbibigyan ng equal opportunities ang lahat ng mga Pilipino, even doon sa mga nasa remote areas.
Exactly.
Walang mapababayaan. Sa negosyo. Sa pag-aaral. Di ba? Even yung mga nasa malalayong lugar, pwede nang pumunta sa cities.
That's true.
To avail education. And marami siyang impact, marami siyang magiging epekto, and eventually na yung ekonomiya natin magiging first world talaga.
That's true. And also not only that, it will also solve our problem about CPP, NPA, and DF. Kasi bakit nga ba nagkaroon ng mga CPP, NPA, and DF? Kasi hindi sila kontento. They're not satisfied with what the government is doing for them and for their family. So with this modern transportation network, kasi nga, di ba, we will be reaching even the remotest barangay. We will reach out to them and we will give them access. So whatever their products are, they will be able to send it to the urban areas, and then, hindi lang yun. So, gone are the days na tatakbo sila, magtatago sila. Instead, they will be given safety na. And then, not only that, they can also provide for their family. So you see, dami nga, that's true. Marami siyang, kumbaga domino effect na, marami siyang matutulungan, mare-resolve ng mga problems. And also, it will boost really our economy.
Alam mo, Attorney Kay, isa rin din sa nakikita ko at naiintindihan ko yung gusto ni Pastor that there will be, may prosperity sa kada lugar, kahit saan ka man pumunta sa panig ng Pilipinas. And eventually, yung mga alam naman natin yan, yung mga taga-probinsya, pumupunta sa Metro Manila to find greener pasture para magtrabaho. So kung merong prosperity doon sa lugar nila, yung mga taga-probinsya na nasa Metro Manila, eventually babalik sila doon sa kanilang lugar dahil meron ng mga economic opportunities. And parang it will resolve the problem of overpopulation, yung traffic din dito sa Metro Manila. So napakaganda nung modern transportation network.
Yes. And another question also, is it doable? Parang, ayan na, marami talagang magdududa, kaya ba yan? Ang laki modern talaga siya, two-way bullet train network, tapos may 4 highways pa, super highways pa, alongside ng itong nasa gitna na two-way bullet train. Sabi ni Pastor, yes, it's doable. May nakausap na po si Pastor, sabi niya. Ready na si Pastor. He's not just only planning. He's not just visualizing it, but he is already talking to someone who was able to do it before na in their country. And again, they are very willing to help Pastor in achieving, not only Pastor, the Philippines in achieving this dream. Is it an impossible dream? Not to Pastor. Again, yun yung kaibahan ni Pastor. I will always be emphasizing this. Yun ang kaibahan ni Pastor from all other senatorial candidates. Kasi he has faith. Malaking bagay ang magkaroon ng faith. What is faith? Whatever he conceives, he will be able to achieve it. Very achievable. Again, my Exhibit A. From nothing to something. Nagawa ni Pastor from just 15 members, poor members lang of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, 1980s. In just 3 decades to 4 decades, ganito na po ang Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Napakalago, worldwide na po. Independent, self-reliant. Bakit? Because may kingdom pa. Bakit? Because he was able to conceive this. In-incubate to ni Pastor. Lahat, nasa vision niya lang to, nag-start sa vision, and then, of course, faith without work is dead. Kaya lahat niya nagkaroon ng work ethics, ang lahat ng mga members ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ, na andyan yan, yung endurance, andyan yung discipline, andyan yung you will always have faith, produce something out of nothing. With man, it is impossible, but with God, everything is possible. Lahat yan. Yan yung pinaka-asset ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. At yung mentality na yon, he was able to transform or transport it to every kingdom citizen. Kaya ganun kabilis ang growth ng kingdom. So, the same also, he will be doing this. Yes, it is very doable. With faith and also having that relationship once again with the Almighty Father who created us all, who is the author and the finisher of all of this. So yes, achievable siya, doable siya. So yun nga ang kaiba ni Pastor, kasi kumbaga may resibo, sabi nga nila, 'di ba? Meron na siyang nagawa. And he's not just helping kingdom citizens. He's also reaching out even to non-members. Kasi yun nga, yung love niya is accommodating all. It's not exclusive. It's all-inclusive siya. So, doable, very doable talaga. Amazing nga kasi may nakausap na. And then, kumbaga, Pastor, anytime, ganun. So, kaya ang challenge ni Pastor for all other candidates, not just aspiring government officials, but even to the current administration. Anyone, whatever position you have, ito, he has already shown you the model for the modern transportation network. He's challenging you. He's giving you the idea, yes, this is possible. Yes, you can also do it. But if you can't, of course, and if he is given a chance also to have a seat in the government, he will really do it. And pag si Pastor ang nagsabi, talagang gagawin at gagawin niya.
And attorney, dito na rin siguro papasok yung magandang foreign policy natin kasi yung ibang mga bansa nagkakaroon na ng mga ganito rin, no ba? Kumbaga, ito yung mga bansa na dati nauuna tayo pero ngayon nauungusan na tayo pero grabe na yung kanilang transportation system at kung titingnan mo naman yung kanilang foreign policy, lagi na lang sinasabi neutral sila sa lahat. 'Di ba? So parang ngayon kung meron kang papanigan, dapat yung pinanigan mo, ang kalaban ng pinanigan mo, ikalaban mo rin, which is napakapangit kasi mas hindi ka magiging open sa lahat ng mga bansa or mga opportunities na makukuha mo. At itong mga ganitong plano ni Pastor, kailangan mo talaga ng matinding funding yan. At kung wala kang mga friendship na mga kapitbahay o di kaya sa mga malalaking bansa, hindi mo talaga makakamit itong mga ganito.
Yes. Agree. And not only that, may budget talaga. Kaya nga, saan ba? So, anong gagamitin? Natanong din yan. Pastor, so, saan tayo kukuha ng budget? Sabi na emphasize ni Pastor, andyan na yung DPWH. Nagawa nga ni former President Rodrigo Duterte with the Build project niya. And also, we'll just tap the DPWH, give them the direction, itong magiging project, kasi andyan yan, and guide them, and then give them clear directions talaga para sa ganitong project, magagawa. Kasi yun nga, pag zero corruption, balik na naman tayo sa zero corruption. Kasi kung walang corruption, may budget, lahat ng mga expenditures, lahat ng mga transactions, even yung mga bidding, lahat yan, very transparent tayo. So, ma-achieve. And not just that, pati yung maintenance, kayang-kaya daw, sabi ni Pastor. Basta walang corruption. So, ganun ka-positive, ka-optimistic si Pastor para sa bansang ito. And he would like to influence not only the Filipinos, but especially those who are in the government now. And also, yung mga upcoming government officials.
Yun yung target ni Pastor, world-class na mga infra. Tayo ngayon, nasa lately lang, merong report ulit na ang NAIA, worst airport, bungad pa lang. Pag landing pa lang ng investor ang makikita niya, NAIA agad. So, isa ito sa mga isusulong talaga ng butihing Pastor. Kasi meron tayong mga, halimbawa, yung natapos during Duterte administration ng mga magagandang mga airports. Kaso malayo, walang masyadong access. Kung ikaw, nandito ka sa Metro Manila, anong access mo agad-agad doon sa Clark? So talagang magiging congested yung NAIA at kailangan natin itong ganitong koneksyon para mas mabilis ang biyahe kahit saan ka man sa probinsya, kasulok-sulukan, sa sandaling matapos na ito, mas magiging mabilis na kasi ito yung hamon sa atin na Attorney K kasi yung kapuluan po kasi tayo yung archipelago. Compare natin sa ibang bansa na isang lupa lang talaga sila. Tayo, hiwa-hiwalay. Kung wala tayong magandang transportasyon, meron talagang mapag-iiwanan. At ang ebidensya niyan, ang daming congested area, Metro Manila, yung Cebu, pati na rin yung Davao. Yung mga wala doon, talagang napagkakaitan ng tadhana. At sa pamamagitan nito, ikokonekta na lahat-lahat. Accessible na lahat.
Yes. Diba? Ang gandang tingnan, diba? Nung video na yan. Yan yung na-envision na ni Pastor, na-visualize niya na, na-conceive na niya. May video na, and yung tinatawag niya ngayon na, this is the incubation period. Parang sa, diba, pag yung manok, yung hen, we will be hatching the egg after the incubation, 21 days of incubation. Tapos yan, mag-hatch na yan. And then, talagang mapoproduce yan. So, ganun din ang kay Pastor. So, nakikita na natin ngayong lahat, na visualize na, and it's just a matter of time na, yung challenge niya, if you cannot do it, at a given time, He will surely do it.
Oo nga, kasi ano na tayo, masyado na tayong huli. No? Dati nangunguna tayo, pero ngayon mga kapitbahay lang natin, balikan ko lang yung sa airport natin. From scale of 0 to 10, ang score na nakuha ng Pilipinas or sa NAIA, 0.27. Hindi pa umabot ng 1. Naunahan pa tayo ng Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, na dati mas nauna pa tayo. Same lang din naman tayo ng pinagdaanan na dumaan din naman tayo sa giyera. Ang ano lang dyan talaga, problema is yung namumuno or yung pinaka-manager, paano ba ginawa. At nakikita natin, batay nga sa mga resulta na nating butihing pastor sa KOJC, napakarami na niyang mga exhibit na pwedeng maipakita. And for sure, hindi malayo na kaya din niyang i-implement ito sa buong bansa, Attorney K.
Yes, agree. 100% agree dyan. Kaya, yun nga, just try, Pastor.
At sa mga susunod pa na mga araw, marami pa. Mayroon pang programa sa turismo, sa environment, lahat na Hindi nga pang senador na yung ano ni Pastor, pang presidente na yung ano. Pero sa pamamagitan nitong mga panukalang batas, magiging at least guided. Di ba? Yung government sa kung ano yung dapat na gawin at hindi niya pwedeng isantabi ito kasi kung magiging batas na ito, obligado talaga na sundin at ito pa rin. Siguro, panghuling message mo, Attorney K, lalo na sa ating mga botante na hanggang sa kasalukuyan ay nag-iisip pa kung sino-sino ang mga iboboto nila sa darating na halalan.
So, ang laki ng vision ni Pastor for the Philippines. He really loved the Philippines. Kaya nga yung slogan niya, para sa Diyos at Pilipinas kong mahal. And he's not just a man of words, he's a man of action. And may exhibit A, B, C, D na siya, name it. And then we can show you lahat ng nagawa ni Pastor, not only for the kingdom of Jesus Christ, but for the Philippines. And not just here in the Philippines, but even abroad, lalo na sa mga abandoned, neglected children. So, hindi lang, yesterday we're able to talk about his platform about zero corruption. And then today, na-share po yung not only yung magiging foreign policy niya, leading to the National Modernization Transportation Network. Marami siyang programa. And he is very excited also to help this country. Kasi sabi nga niya, doable, very doable. As long as andyan na yung naka-mindset na lahat ng Filipino, from the government officials up to private individuals, lahat tayo will be working hard to achieve that first world country. Yes, it's possible. Again, just try, Pastor. He is a man of faith. He has already proved himself. And then give him a chance and you will see what will happen to the Philippines. So yun, and thank you so much for the time.
Maraming salamat si Attorney K. Laurente po, mga kapartner. Kaugnay nga po sa ilan pa sa napakaraming mga plano ng butihing pastor para po sa bansang Pilipinas. Break lang muna tayo dahil mamaya meron tayong mga updates naman sa mga ganap dyan sa Estados Unidos dahil ngayon nga ang kanilang araw ng paghuhukom. Kung sino ang susunod na presidente po nila, mga kapartner. Standby lang kayo dyan, magbabalik pa ang SMNI Nightline News.
Tutukan ang SMNI Nightline News with MJ and Admar.
Tapang at malasakit.
Ang malasakit ay binibigay sa mga taong nangangailangan.
Kailangan bukal sa kalooban ng pagtulong.
Pagbigay ng kung anong meron pa, nung kaya mo.
At malasakit.
Ang malasakit, magsasakripisyo ka. Ang pagtulong ay walang pinipiling oras.
Kagaya ni Mr. Malasakit, Senator Bongo, Disyo ang magserbisyo.
Tatayo tayo dahil sa katuwiran at kabutihan nating ginagawa kahit lapastanganin pa tayo. We suffer for doing that which is good to our fellow human beings. We do not begrudge that because our Almighty Father who came into the flesh suffered and suffered. He is the epitome of good. But he let them suffer. Him putting up that gentle body to that cross, mocking him, putting a crown of thorns around his head. This is what we get from this evil world. But are we going to just surrender to the evil? No, it's not our duty or it is not our intention to cower because of the evil that is being done to us by this evil world. In fact, we have a command that when that is being done to us, we will not sulk in a corner and regret the good that we are doing. But he said, rejoice and be exceeding glad. Great is your reward in heaven. Hallelujah. This is an evil world where the Father has planted us in. Why? Because we are the light. And the light doesn't surrender to darkness. And our good should not be affected by the evil. Let us not become evil like them. Let us triple, quadruple the good that we are doing whenever the darkness attack us with more darkness. We have to produce more light to lighten up this world of evil, to let the light of our Almighty Father shine through every heart. Kaya kakaiba tayo. Hindi tayo sumusurrender sa kadiliman. Hindi tayo sumusurrender sa kasamaan. Ang liwanag ay lumalaban sa kadiliman. Ang liwanag ay gumagapi sa kadiliman.
Alam mo ba na may magagawa ka para matugunan ang problema sa baha na nararanasan natin ngayon? Maging bahagi ng solusyon. Lumahok sa isang puno, isang bayan, nationwide tree planting activity ngayong November 16, 2024. Para sa kalikasan, para sa bayan. Alam mo ba na may magagawa ka para matugunan ang problema sa baha na nararanasan natin ngayon? Maging bahagi ng solusyon. Lumahok sa isang puno, isang bayan, nationwide tree planting activity ngayong November 16, 2024. Para sa kalikasan, para sa bayan. News with MJ and Admar.
At nagbabalik po ang SMNI Nightline News at ngayon ay alamin naman natin ang mga kasalukuyang nangyayari ngayon sa Estados Unidos kaugnay nga sa nagpapatuloy na US presidential elections. And tonight we'll be with Valerie Lascano, the SMNI USA correspondent. Val?
Good day from the SMNI News Center in Houston, Texas, USA. You're watching a special live coverage of the 2024 USA presidential elections. And it's just a little past 8 in the morning here. In just a matter of hours, we'll be finding out whom America chooses to be its 47th president, whether it's former President Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris. So stay with us for the latest from our SMNI citizen correspondent standing by in polling areas all over the USA.
Val, I have a few questions here regarding the U.S. presidential elections. Are the people excited or worried about voting this year? What are they saying?
Well, actually, it's a really close fight, and everyone is excited. And although it's raining here in Houston right now, but it's not stopping the people from flooding the polling stations to cast their vote for their bid for president.
So far, have you seen any problems at the polls so far today?
So far, no problems have arisen, but hopefully everything will go smooth. And states in the West are still opening, but in the East Coast, in New York and other states, they're already open. So yes, people are lining up and it's flooding the polling stations.
Well, I'm also curious because a while ago you said that that the fight between the presidential candidates are intense. Yes. So how is security being handled at the poll areas?
As of this moment, there have heightened security in the polling stations because in years past there were many people who were threatening to commit some crimes or do something at the polling stations to prevent the polls or for the votes to be coming in. But as of this moment, the updates from what we have seen in the polling stations, yes, they have heightened their security. And so far, everything's going smooth.
And how about the voters? Are they feeling safe and confident in the voting process?
Yeah, actually, so far, the people are very orderly and everything is going, we can say smooth sailing, I guess, how you can say it. But aside in person, there are mail-in options for those who cannot poll or go to vote in person. So this is another option. If they feel unsafe, you can also mail in your vote here in the U.S.
Val, what are the main issues that motivating voters in your area for the U.S. presidential elections?
Okay, so some of the main issues that people are wanting or who want change so far is feminism, like equality in the workplace, and of course equality in when it comes to race and in their workplaces. Of course, we need equality for that. And many people are also concerned with the economic standing of the United States at this moment and for the economic plans of the upcoming president. So those are, I think, those are the main issues. And of course, one more thing is the immigration issues that foreign policies, the foreigners here in the U.S. Are looking for, hope for, that they will have freedom to be here in the U.S. and as well as the religious freedom, which many people are fighting for at this moment in the U.S.
Val, good evening from the Philippines. What are the main platforms of the two presidential candidates?
All right, so some of the main platforms of Donald Trump is he would like to seal the borders and stop migrant invasion. and carry out, and the second, that was the number one. The second is to carry, the second is to carry out the large deportation operation in the U.S. history and end inflation. And number four, make America the world's dominant energy producer. And also number five for his platform is stop outsourcing and turn up U.S. into the manufacturing superpower. And also number six, large tax cuts for workers. Okay, and number seven is to defend the Constitution and fundamental freedoms of speech, religion, and arms, and to restore peace in Europe, Middle East, and other countries. Okay, and we also have a part of his platform is to demolish foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence. All right, so those are some of the platforms of Donald Trump.
How about Kamala Harris?
All right, so for Kamala Harris, she would like to, number one, cut taxes for middle-class families, and also bring down the cost of healthcare for people here in the U.S., and also protect reproduction freedom for women, and also abortion rights.
Okay, Partner Jayson, para sa kaalaman ng ating mga kababayan din, merong at least 4.1 million na mga Filipino-Americans sa Amerika na maaring makaboto. Tumaas ito ng siguro mga at least 1 milyon mula sa noong 2020 na nasa 3 million. Now ngayon, itatanong natin kay Val kung how can the vote of the Filipinos affect, if meron man, sa eleksyon sa Amerika. Kumbaga, kung makuha ba niya itong 4 million na ito na nakakalat, no? Makuha nila yung simpatya or makuha ng mga kandidato, is there any effect or makaka-apekto ba ito? How can the vote of the Filipinos affect the election in America, Val?
Okay, so it will be, Filipinos here in the U.S. will probably be affected. And Filipinos actually account for 17% of the national total of Asian American population here. And also, unlike some of the other major Asian countries who are here in the United States, Filipino Americans are the U.S. Yes. So, sorry, I have a lot of traffic coming in. Yes, most Filipino Americans live in California, Hawaii, and in Texas.
And
so these states have the most electoral votes that can truly affect the outcome of the presidential race.
So, meron talagang epekto, Partner Jayson and Partner Val, na kasi doon sa mga lugar na may maraming electoral vote, marami din mga Pilipino doon. So kung makuha mo lang yung loob ng mga Pilipino doon, makuha mo yung kanilang mga boto, so meron ding say talaga, no? So Val, meanwhile, meron tayong makakasama, isang geopolitical analyst, habang inaantay natin yung mga live reports ng ating mga correspondents dyan po sa Amerika, sa kung ano talaga yung ganap sa ground mismo. Makakasama natin si Professor Admar Vilando Jayson, isang geopolitical analyst. Prof, magandang gabi mula dito sa Pilipinas. Maupay na gabi. Admar Vilando, kasama natin si Jayson Rubrico, and mula sa Amerika, si Valerie Lascano. Prof?
Good evening, Admar. Good evening, Val. At good evening, Jayson. At maraming salamat sa pag-invite niyo sa akin dito. Lalo na ito ay coverage ng US presidential elections that is, I think, starting now.
And Prof, siguro balikan lang natin dahil ang Pilipinas at Amerika ay may matagal ng relasyon talaga, no? Ilang dekada na rin yan. Sa nakikita mo naman, kasi magkaiba itong magkaiba ng pananaw, magkaiba yung polisiya ng pambato ng Democrat at ng Republican. Ano sa tingin mo ang magiging epekto nito sakaling manalo itong pambato ng Democrat at itong si Donald Trump, dating Pangulong Donald Trump?
Okay. Ang tingin ko kasi kapag halimbawa if Harris, the Democrat presidential candidate would win in the election today, I think when you talk about Philippine-US relations, kung anong impact ng potential Harris administration, I think what I can see is that Harris would continue the Biden's administration's most of Biden's policy, especially when you talk about foreign policy. So anong ibig sabihin dito? Ibig sabihin, what we can see right now in the Philippines na very strong ang Philippine-US relation, but if you really look at the aspect kung saan malakas yan, it's on the defense and military side and security. So if Harris will win, Kamala will win, it means it will be strengthened or it will be continued in that regard. So yun yung isa sa mga possibility. And of course, the strengthening of the mutual defense treaty and the military alliance between the two countries. In the same manner that under Harris also, it's not only the Philippines. I think Harris, in terms of foreign policy, would strengthen relationship, especially defense and security, with its allies, including the Philippines. So when you talk about policy, I think Harris would be very strong on human rights issues as well and promoting democracy in the world and across the globe, but most especially with American allies like the Philippines. So expected yan mga issues like, for example, women's rights, reproductive health rights, and especially abortion rights for women. Probably it will be pushed kasi yan ang kanyang mga kanyang mga campaign narratives na pinopromote when she was campaigning. And when you talk about economic naman, I think Harris administration would still continue to have that economic partnership, especially when you talk about technology, innovation, and probably on issues that have something to do with climate change, so green technology. Kasi yan naman ang nakikita natin under Biden administration na sinasabi nilang, we have this economic relationship. So I think pretty much Harris would just be continuing Biden's administration's foreign policy and even other policy that has something to do with economics and social and even people-to-people ties and all of these things. So that's what I can see. On the other hand, when you talk about Trump administration, I think Trump to a greater extent will have from that when you talk about defense and military and security, I think a second Trump administration will recalibrate these things, meaning that it will be transactional more. Like for example, yung ang mga military spending or military funding na binibigay sa Pilipinas, when you talk about EDCA, prepositioning military assets, grant to the AFP and or to the Philippines when you talk about military, I think it will be there's a possibility ma-downgrade yan, ma-recalibrate yan, and there's a possibility as well for Trump to say na, if you want us to maintain military support and backing for the Philippines, especially when you talk about South China Sea issue, you also need to pay us. I mean, you have to pay something because transactional si Trump If you really listen to his campaign promises and campaign narratives, he's even saying that when he assumed and even the Gaza conflict to Trump it's more about America first, American first. So if it's American first, everything revolves around what benefits America, what's the interest of America, and Trump is a businessman. As much as possible, when he spends money, he wants to get something out of it. So yun yung nakikita ko kay Trump when you talk about impact on US-Philippine relation. When you talk about economy, Trump has the tendency to be protectionist. Protectionist, ibig sabihin, poprotektahan niya yung market niya, poprotektahan niya yung industry niya, and at the end of the day, kung kumbaga negotiation yan, it would always boil down that America benefits more than the other side. So in terms of economic policy, I would assume that he will be more protectionist in a sense that not necessarily only on the Philippines, but probably other countries like China, in a way that it will protect its own economy by imposing. When you talk about trade, it will probably Trump will be imposing more tariff quotas. I'm not sure though on the Philippines, but I would assume that it really depends on negotiations. So I mean, the current administration of Marcos Jr. really has to know how to navigate these things. When you talk about human rights, I don't think so, but I think Trump. Trump knows the Philippines naman in that sense, but I think there would be a shift in terms of ang pinakamalaking impact kasi dyan pagdating sa Pilipinas is the shift of foreign policy ng US administration if a Trump presidency mas ganon siya.
Apo.
With reference to the Philippines. Yeah.
Opo. Prof, may tanong si partner Val mula sa Amerika bago kami ulit magtatanong sa iyo. Yes, Val?
Yes. At this moment, Professor, what do you think by the policy of Trump, America first, will this benefit U.S. in terms of peace in the Asia-Pacific region? Us.
I think so. For me, yeah, I'm a bit more positive that if a Trump presidency, if there's a Trump presidency and Trump will win, it's a win. It's a win for the world when you talk about security, military, and peace. Precisely because Trump, I don't think he would want to extend too much, the military capability of the United States into other countries. I don't think so. Kasi nga, sinasabi nga ni Trump lagi, when I assume the presidency, I want conflict to be de-escalated. So if ganun ang kanyang pronouncement, it means that he is not inclined into the security, rivalry, and competition with other major powers in the world, which is, I'm referring to China and Russia. I don't think that will happen. The way it is now, what is going on now, that there's really intense rivalry and competition security-wise between major superpowers like China, Russia, and the United States. I think that will be reduced to a greater extent, though I would not say it will be eliminated, because what I can see with Trump presidency, he will focus and he will emphasize more on economics and trade. So in that sense, I would presume that if Trump wins, trade war, well, he started the trade war with China. I think that will be the competition. And of course, the world will be affected by that. But at least this is not about military. This is more about trade. And I think it's just a matter of how other countries like the Philippines would respond to it. It's really a matter of leadership also on our side.
That's right. All right.
How
Thank
the
you so
leaders
much,
of our country will
Professor.
be able to navigate this kind of shift. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. And actually, I have another question. You mentioned about the protectionist policy of Trump. Will this affect the Philippines economically?
I think so. By the way, Val, earlier you said it will benefit. Would it benefit the United States? Of course, it will. I think it will. In many ways, because it's. At the end of the day, he said like America first. So it's a very patriotic kind of mantra or slogan or philosophy. So in many ways, of course, the first beneficiary of Trump's philosophy, if it's America. But if it will negativity, especially when you talk about the BPOs, yeah, the BPOs. If you look at isa sa pinakamalakas at na industry at the moment sa Pilipinas ang BPOs. But if you look at the BPOs, ang kliyente mo dyan is, karamihan dyan is United States, mga Amerikano. So, pag nagkaroon ng protectionist na policy si Trump, even focusing on that, he would want to bring back the job to the Americans. So that is a possibility. But of course, that is a possibility. We don't know. And again, I would emphasize, it really depends on how our country and our leader would know how to manage this kind of changes if a Trump presidency would be in power, and how to negotiate with a Trump presidency. So hindi naman yan automatic always. Ito ay mga possibility, but it's the way we deal with United States that matters when a new president that has a different trajectory, that's a different policy as against the Biden administration, which basically if Harris wins, it would be little the same in that sense.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Ana. And yeah, that's all for my questions.
Prof, si Admar po ulit. Meron bang significant na kaibahan nung panahon po ni dating President Barack Obama and President Trump dito po sa Pilipinas? Alam natin na during Obama administration, naabutan pa yon na konti ni former President Duterte. Tapos the rest si President Trump na. Or dahil lang merong paninindigan itong si President Duterte, kaya kahit na magkaiba sila kung meron man, talagang nanaig pa rin yung independent foreign policy natin dito sa Pilipinas.
It doesn't have the answer to your question is kumbaga combination of both, no. It's a combination. Like for example, when you talk about Obama, and if you really look at Obama's foreign policy approach to the Philippines, dalawa yan. Security, kasi dyan na umpisan yung EDCA. Saan ba napirmahan ng EDCA? Di ba? During the time of Obama, yung si Aquino pa. Kasi umabot siya kay Aquino eh. So that was security, military and defense, strengthening of the alliance between the two countries, militarily speaking, and human rights. Yun yung pinaka very prominent na Obama policy towards the Philippines at that time. So ngayon, pagdating ni Digong, at naging inabutan niya si Obama was pushing alliance natin, pinupush niya ang mga military agreements natin, pinupush niya ng pinupush. On the other hand, pinupush din ni Obama ang human rights issue, especially drug war. Ang nangyari lang noon, President Duterte is very clear, doon ng panahon yun, very clear si President Duterte of what he wants for the country. So ang nangyari doon, yung pressure from the United States under Obama, hindi naging evidence sa Pilipinas, precisely because alam ni Digong kung ano ang pwede niyang tanggapin at pwede niyang pagbigyan sa Amerikano, sa US nung panahon ni Obama, at alam niya kung ano ang hindi, dahil ito ay hindi nakakabuti sa Pilipinas. That's why maganda ang relasyon natin with America during Obama's time, but still there were also challenges, and one of the challenges that there was very evident is human rights, and also the second one is Duterte would want to have an independent foreign policy. He did not want to have more military assets in the Philippines from the Americans, and even he doesn't want military troops in the Americans. So doon nagkaroon ng challenge on both EDCA, military, and also on the other hand is yung human rights. But still, even there was that challenges, na-maintain natin ang tinatawag nating independent foreign policy. We were still a friend of America, but our foreign policy during the 30 times were diversified in many ways. Precisely, we have good relation with China, we had good relation with Russia, we had good relation with every other country in Asia Pacific and even beyond Asia Pacific. I'm not saying that na walang naging challenges. Of course, there will always be challenges between relationship of the Philippines with other countries, but pretty much during the 30 time, it was more smooth sailing, wala tayong kaaway, we're quite okay in terms of foreign policy. So, mas ganon siya. And if you look at that, from Obama, naging Trump, and still the relationship of the two countries and every aspect was stable and was good because kasundo si Trump at Duterte. So, yun yung magandang dynamics din if a Trump presidency, if Trump wins in the election, it's a very interesting dynamic how Marcos Jr. will deal with Trump because magkaiba ang personality nila.
Opo. Prof, mag-quick break lang tayo dahil mamaya meron din tayong mga live reports mula sa ating mga correspondents dyan sa Amerika para at least mabigyan tayo ng preview kung ano yung mga ganap doon. At the same time, marami pang mga katanungan sa mga foreign policy natin dahil talagang related ang Pilipinas sa mga ganap din sa Amerika. Quick break lang po tayo mga kapartner. 11:08 na po ng gabi. Magbabalik pa ang SMNI Nightline News.
Tutukan ang SMNI Nightline News with MJ and Admar.
Tapang at malasakit.
Ang malasakit ay binibigay sa mga taong nangangailangan.
Kailangan bukal sa kalooban ng pagtulong.
Pagbigay ng kung anong meron pa, nung kaya mo.
At malasakit.
Ang malasakit, magsasakripisyo ka. Ang pagtulong ay walang pinipiling oras.
Kagaya ni Mr. Malasakit, Senator Bongo, disyo ang magserbisyo.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
Alam mo ba na may magagawa ka para matugunan ang problema sa baha na nararanasan natin ngayon? Maging bahagi ng solusyon. Lumahok sa isang puno, isang bayan, nationwide tree planting activity ngayong November 16, 2024. Para sa kalikasan, para sa bayan. Alam mo ba na may magagawa ka para matugunan ang problema sa baha na nararanasan natin ngayon? Maging bahagi ng solusyon. lumahok sa isang puno, isang bayan nationwide tree planting activity ngayong November 16, 2024. Para sa kalikasan, para sa bayan.
Tutukan ang SMNI Nightline News with MJ and Admar.
At nakatutok pa rin kayo mga kababayan dito sa SMNI Nightline News at patuloy po ang ating pagtutok sa kasalukuyang nangyayari sa US presidential elections. And now we'll receive updates about the US presidential elections. Hevoy Russell, our SMNI USA correspondent, is on the line live from Virginia Beach, Virginia, USA. Hevoy?
Yes, Andar. Since 7 a.m., voters have been consistently streaming in here in Virginia Beach, and the ballots are growing and the people are steadily approaching. So many of them consistently wondering that we'll have a better structure or government with either Kamala or Donald Trump. But here today, we are thankful and see the peaceful voting consistency. All the constituents, everyone here is really thankful. Everything is orderly and well-mannered. There is no boisterousness. There's no loud noises. Everything here has been steady and every voting has been good. All of these people, working people, that they will continue to come here lunchtime and also till the end at 7 p.m. There will be a lot of crowd coming in to vote in here in Virginia Beach.
Hevoy, so far, there are no problems at the polls in Virginia Beach?
No problems. Everyone here is smiles and waiting for this evening. Actually, so many of them want, especially a Democratic state as Virginia, they want Kamala to stand forth, but there are some opposers with a Trump-like basis. They actually want a change for the country, but everything has been smooth. Everything has been quiet and orderly.
So how is security being handled at polling places where you are?
Security is actually very mum, meaning to say there's not much to do because, again, everyone is just orderly walking through and they're continuing to go back to work or go back to their house duties. So here now today in Virginia Beach, we can say everything has been great and smooth.
Thank you, Hevoy Russell, for the updates live from the Virginia Beach, Virginia, USA.
Thank you, Andar.
Okay, Val? Okay, mamaya. Okay, kasama pa rin natin si Valerie Lascano at si Professor Ana Malindog-Uy dito sa ating special coverage din, no, sa mga ganap doon sa Amerika. Prof, bago lang si partner Jayson sa karagdagang mga tanong, kahit sino man ang manalo dito po sa halalan sa Estados Unidos, mananatili pa rin ang desisyon sa foreign policy natin sa mismong Pangulo. Kung itutuloy pa rin itong existing, no, kahit sino man, kay Trump man o kay Harris, kung itutuloy pa rin ng kasalukuyang administration ang kanyang foreign policy, kung ano yung nakita natin at resulta dito sa paunang almost 3 taon na administrasyon, magiging same pa rin yung magiging resulta sa last term niya.
Kay itong si Marcos Jr. administration.
Yes po. Opo.
Oo. Well, kasi I think if ang tingin ko naman kasi kay Marcos Jr. They're rooting for Harris to win. Kasi Harris would be continuing a Biden foreign policy and approach to the Philippines. So tingin ko if a Harris administration wins, the very kumbaga the US leaning foreign policy of the current administration of Marcos Jr. will continue. Yun yung tingin ko ha, kasi yun nga sinasabi ko, a Harris presidency would also mean a continuation of most of Biden's policy, even a domestic wise sa US, sa loob ng United States, and even foreign policy wise. So pretty much i-maintain ni Marcos Jr. ang kanyang foreign policy. But the challenge for him really is when a Trump presidency wins, or Trump wins, or a Trump presidency would come into power. So yun yung challenge ni Marcos Jr. Kasi ang problema is like this, yung tinatawag nating foreign policy, which is very much linked to the United States ni Marcos Jr., if you really look at that and dissect that, it's really more strong when you talk about defense, security, and military. Kasi nandyan nga, yung financing ng United States is nandyan lahat. At saka, ang ginagawa kasi ni Marcos Jr., he relies on the United States when it comes to our dispute in the South China Sea with China and the backing of the United States under a Biden administration. But the problem with that is that may change. You know, the way Trump will calibrate his foreign policy and approach to the Philippines, when you talk about the South China Sea and when you talk about military financing and support on military, when you talk about military support and defense to the Philippines, may change and it may be downgraded. So ang tanong ngayon kay Marcos Jr. is, with that possibility, how would you recalibrate as well our foreign policy? Ang tanong din kay Marcos Jr. is, kay President Marcos Jr. is, if in any case that happens, do you really have the time to recalibrate? Yun eh. Yun ang challenge ng Marcos administration eh. If a Trump presidency would be in power. Kasi ganun talaga ang mangyayari. Now, ang tanong niya, would he maintain a very leaning foreign policy to the United States, or would he recalibrate and make it more balanced and independent, that he would now try to reconsider his relationship, the very challenging diplomatic and political relationship with China and Russia and other countries that are considered as quote-unquote adversaries of the United States. So yun yung sitwasyon na nahaharapin kasi ni President Bongbong Marcos when Trump wins. And the possibility of Trump winning is also huge. That's even my question to the correspondents in the United States. What is the status right now? But I will ask the question later. Pero yun ang tingin ko. So it really depends on him. Kung babaguhin niya, i-recalibrate niya, depende kung sino ang mananalo, at also depende kung may time pa siya to do that. Kasi bukas na ngayon na yung result niyan eh. In any time soon magkakaroon niya ng result, siguro mga evening or even early evening or late evening in the United States, magkakaroon niya ng resulta na eh kung sino ang mananalo eh. So yun ang tingin ko.
Prof, hihingin ko lang din yung opinion po ninyo sa dati pong opisyal ng gobyerno. May sinabi po siya, part po siya ng Duterte administration, na dapat po daw yung mga Pilipino ay hindi maging excited kung sino yung mananalo sa US presidential elections. Dahil kung manalo man yan si Donald Trump or si Kamala Harris, ang unahin pa rin yan ay ang interest ng Amerika, at wala yan silang magiging pakialam sa interest ng Pilipinas.
Point naman siya, kung sino man ang dating membro ng membro ng Duterte administration na nagsabi niyan, may point siya doon. Kasi yun yung sinasabi ko, the Philippines should not be dependent on the United States. We should have our own, kumbaga, yung own trajectory, our own vision, our own path, kung paano natin pinapagalaw ang bansa natin. Kahit sinong manalo dapat, okay lang ang Pilipinas, kaya natin makipag-deal sa kanila at negotiate, or even, okay lang. Kung manalo si Harris, we'll be better off. If manalo si Trump, we'll also be better off. Dapat kasi ganun talaga ang sitwasyon ng Pilipinas. But I think nagkakaroon ka lang ng tinatawag mong excitement, and then the US presidential election, especially this time, parang everyone is interested, not only Filipinos, but of course Filipinos mas interesado tayo, precisely because the current administration foreign policy is really beholden and leaning to the United States. And you also have the elements of strong military ties under a Marcos Jr. administration. So it matters a lot for us, especially when you talk about sovereignty, when you talk about autonomy, when you talk about independence. Because right now, many countries in the world has this perception that the Philippines is not really independent in real sense, precisely because mayroon kang tinatawag na control, some kind of strong influence of the United States over the current administration, especially when you talk about foreign policy. So kaya nagkakaroon ng excitement ang mga Pilipino kasi under a Biden administration, ganun ang sitwasyon natin. So nagiging excited ang Pilipino kasi what will happen to the current administration and how they gonna respond if in any case Trump wins. Kasi kung si Harris, parang ganun ang mangyayari. It's the same, you know. It's pretty much the same kind of policy that will be, that we will experience under Kamala Harris presidency. Kasi ipupursu lang niya ang Biden administration's policy. May kakaroon ng konting pagkakaiba, pero generally the picture will be pretty much the same. Pero ang crucial kasi dyan, what if Trump wins? So might shift yan, and the shift will impact the Philippines in many ways. Yun eh. Kaya nagkakaroon ng excitement ang Pinoy na nagiging interesado tayo kung anong mangyayari sa Pilipinas. If you put it in a broader sense, global naman, of course, many countries in the world right now and the people of the world right now are very much interested as well kung matalaman at makita sino ba ang mananalo, because it has impact on what you call world peace. Cliché man siya, pero it's really the truth. Why? Precisely because if you have a Harris administration, strategic rivalry and competition when you talk about security between major powers, especially between the United States and China, will continue, and it may intensify. Okay? However, if you have a Trump administration, the possibility that conflict and wars that is happening at the moment, that is affecting the world, the possibility that it will be de-escalated or will stop to some extent, de-escalate and then magkaroon ng mga negotiation, a peace settlement, may happen. Kasi yun ang gusto ni Trump, yun ang sinasabi ni Trump na kapag ako ang nanalo, naupo ako first day pa lang ng pagkakaupo ko, I'll make it sure that Ukraine and Gaza will de-escalate and will try to negotiate and try. So, ibig sabihin, malaki ang pagkakaiba when you talk about security issues, especially security issues, ng possibility ng Harris administration and a Trump administration. So, kaya ang mundo din, hindi lang Pinoy, very interested sila kung ano ang mangyayari sa US presidential election. Crucial kasi ang US presidential election na to when you talk about geopolitics. Really, it's a very crucial siya.
Prof,
sino ang
Prof, balikan ka lang namin dahil maki-update muna tayo sa mga ganap sa nagpapatuloy na halalan dyan po sa Estados Unidos. Puntahan naman natin ang ating correspondent dyan sa Houston, Texas sa pamamagitan ni Sara Galauran. Sara, magandang gabi mula dito sa Pilipinas. Kamusta dyan? Yes, Sarah?
Yes, magandang gabi sa inyo sa Pilipinas at magandang umaga sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Houston, Texas, sa buong mundo. Pasok. Okay. Kapartner Admar, magandang gabi sa inyo dyan sa Pilipinas at magandang umaga sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Houston, Texas at sa buong mundo. Ngayon, nandito kami sa isa sa mga polling stations at masusing minomonitor ang mga botohan sa buong lungsod at sa kabuuan sa buong bansa. Narito kami mula pa kaninang umaga ng alas 7 at nagsimula ang botohan ng alas 8 ng umaga. At ayon sa impormasyon na aking nakalap, may 75 voters na ang nakapagboto. Paisa-isa ang pagdating ng mga botante dulot sa daloy ng panahon. Ang Texas ay isa sa pinakamalaking estado pagdating sa lupa at populasyon at inaasahan naming magiging abala ang araw na ito. Nakipag-usap din kami sa isa sa mga polling voters at sinabi nilang kumpiyansa sila na magiging maayos at ligtas ang takbo ng mga botohan hanggang matapos ang eleksyon ngayong taong 2024.
Yes, Sarah, naririnig mo ba ako ng malinaw?
Yes po.
Apo. Diyan sa kasalukuyan sa Houston ay ano? Umulan ba ngayon diyan? Kasi basa sa paligid mo eh.
Opo, kakatapos lang po yung kapartner Admar, actually kakatapos lang yung ulan dito. At unti na lang at unti-unti na umaaraw ang panahon dito sa Houston, Texas at dumadagsa na rin ang mga tao para sila makapagboto ngayong araw.
So kumbaga hindi ito nakapagpapigil at patuloy pa rin na nakapagboto pa rin yung ating yung mga US citizens diyan sa Amerika kasi mga anong oras pa lang mabahaba pa, so tapos na yung ulan, so maaari na silang makaboto diyan.
Yes, actually dumadagsa na marami ng tao ang dumadating, ngunit wala pa kami masyadong nakikita mga Filipino-Americans. So, in-expect namin na, inihintay namin na sana may dumating na mga Pilipino para makapag-interview din tayo sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Houston, Texas.
Maraming salamat si Sarah Galauran live mula dyan sa Houston, Texas sa Estados Unidos. Ayan ang huling update. So mahaba-haba pa yung oras, partner Jayson at Prof. Ana sa mga ganap at ang ikinaganda kasi dito parang kagaya din siguro ng Pilipinas, mga ilang oras lang din pwede na silang mag-declare, di kayo mas mabilis pa at kaya na nilang magdeklara ng kung sino man ang nanalo. Pahabol ko lang ng question bago ulit si partner Jayson. Dito naman po sa kapitbahay natin na China. Kamusta yung ano ba ang bali-balita dyan? Kasi ngayon ang halalan sa Estados Unidos. Meron bang mga din dyan, mga chismisan, maritesan, o di kayo mga usap-usapan? Ano bang mga dyan, pulso ng mga taga-China naman sa ganap dito sa Estados Unidos? Prof, unmute lang, Prof.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far naman, pagdating kasi sa China, ang China kasi, if you really, parang mga Chinese kasi at saka yung Chinese government, the way I see it and analyze, parang they already, it's a given kasi na ang Democrats at Republican, bipartisan kasi, it's, when you talk about China and its stand with China, it's very consistent. May tinatawag silang bipartisan consensus against China. Pero kaya ang China, kumbaga sa kanila, ang nakikita ko at mga naririnig ko lang din, hindi naman to official din talaga na stand ng government, but you can also hear the discussion, Ang nila is, kung manalo man si Harris, manalo man si Trump, I think for them, it really doesn't matter. Hindi naman na it doesn't matter. Parang they're okay. At alam nila na halimbawa kapag Harris wins, sabi ko nga kanina, it's a continuation of Biden foreign policy towards China. So ibig sabihin, it's really a rivalry na security. Hindi lang siya economic but security. Pero alam nila na kapag si Trump ang manalo, it would really be more on trade. So alam din nila na ang gitgitan talaga, it would be focused more on trade. And trade, it means more on restrictions when you talk about imports ng China from the United States that has something to do with semiconductors, anything to do with technology, may kinalaman sa technology, information technology, and semiconductors. Kasi ito yung bakbakan na nangyayari. And of course, ang Trump administration will be imposing more on trade barriers. Magiging protectionist yan laban sa China if Trump wins. Ito'y ini-expect na ng mga Chinese. Alam nila yan eh. Pero alam din nila na kapag Harris will win, ang mangyayari is yun pa rin. Ang strategic rivalry and competition, security, defense, and having that influence in the Indo-Pacific region will also be very intense. It will continue to be intense. So alam nila yan. So yun ang ina-expect nila. And of course, as a country, they're prepared for that. Kasi nangyayari na yan. If you look at it, this is not the first. If in any case Trump wins, this will be the second Trump presidency. So may experience na sila ng first presidency ni Trump. At alam nila, malinaw sa kanila na Trump will really be pushing for America first. So alam nila na, ang bakbakan nila sa trade, economics will be intense under Trump, but at least not on security. Not too much on security, I think, from a Trump presidency. Pero yung sa kay Harris, it continue lang yan ng Biden administration na bakbakan naman sa military, security, at yung military build-up in the Indo-Pacific region will continue that makes China anxious. Apektado ang Pilipinas kasi ang Pilipinas isa sa mga country that is being used as a proxy ng United States under a Biden administration, and it will continue under a Harris administration. So, ganun ang mangyayari. So, ang ating relationship din with China will continue to be antagonistic and very challenging politically and diplomatically speaking when you have a Harris administration, unless Harris will deviate from a Biden's foreign policy. Unless, we don't know, because hindi pa naman nangyayari. Yun yung tingin ko. Pero bottom line kasi, the Chinese know that there's such a thing as a bipartisan consensus that Democrats and Republicans really has a strong stance against China. And nagkakaiba lang yan, as I would like to emphasize, in the area. Yung sphere. Yung sphere ng Democrats is security, competition niya na intense, and rivalry. Yung security, kasama na yan defense and military. Pagdating sa Republic under a Trump presidency, trade yan. Bakbakan yan sa trade na madugo. Which would impact all countries in the world. Kasi yan ang dalawang superpower eh. Dalawang strongest economic powerhouse of the world. The United States is a declining power, but still it is a power that that China is reckoning with at the moment. So ganoon ang mangyayari. Apektado pa rin ang Pilipinas diyan. Either way.
Prof, dito naman sa kapitbahay nating immediate, maliban dito sa China, itong Southeast Asian nation, meron din ba silang, kumbaga sa mga naririnig mo or sa pagkakaalam mo, or ang ikinaganda lang sa kanila is talagang matatag sila sa kanilang existing na foreign policy. Kasi nababanggit nila neutral. Halimbawa, dito sa Vietnam, alam natin talagang parang kagaya din ito ng Pilipinas sa China, pero iba lang yung kanyang pagtrato. Meron pa ring more than doon sa dispute natin dyan sa South China Sea. At sa iba pang mga lugar, sa Malaysia, nagsalita na, di ba, yung mga leader nila, no, na minsan talagang pinupoke din nila itong China, yet ongoing pa rin yung kanilang economic trade. Meron ba silang din dito sa Amerika, or talagang kahit ano man ang mangyari dyan sa Amerika, sino man ang manalo dyan, still kung ano yung na-set up nila na tingin nila maganda, magpapatuloy pa rin ito?
Ang tingin ko kasi sa ibang countries in Southeast Asia like Malaysia, especially the major countries, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, and even Indonesia. They're also excited kung ano ang magiging result ng US presidential election today. But in terms of apektado ba sila kung a Harris administration win or a Harris win or a Trump wins, hindi ganun eh. Kasi why? Tama ka kanina sinasabi mo, Admar. It's precisely because very defined ang foreign policy ng mga countries na to, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Very defined yan. Kasi ito yung major countries in Southeast Asia na strong countries, in terms of economic and even politically speaking. So ito sila, very defined ng kanilang foreign policy, and that is what? Independent foreign policy and autonomous. Ibig sabihin, they have a very good relation and a balanced relation with China and the United States. So kahit sino pa ang mangyari, sino pa ang manalo dyan, may it be a Harris presidency, may it be a Trump presidency, I think these countries can deal with the United States precisely because they make decisions based on their national interest and based on what is needed and based on what is good for their country. And they can, even if it is Trump or even if it's a Harris. So walang ganon. Naiiba kasi ang Pilipinas under a Marcos Jr. administration. So kaya medyo critical tayo, medyo excited tayo kung sinong mananalo kasi may impact sa atin foreign policy wise. Pero dito sa mga to na mga ibang countries in Southeast Asia, of course there will be shifts a little and recalibration of negotiation and how they gonna approach the United States depende kung sinong mananalo, but overall wise and in terms of foreign policy ng mga to, in terms of relation with the United States, I don't think it would have that much impact because they can still deal with the United States. Kahit sinong manalo. Precisely because bottom line is their foreign policy is independent and autonomous. And they, if you really look, Anwar Ibrahim, no? We are Malaysia is a sa ibang country, problema nila yon. But we will deal with all countries in the world based on our yun ang mga pronouncement lately ni Malaysian Prime Minister Ibrahim. So ibig sabihin, hindi ganon kalaki ang adjustment. It's precisely malino ang foreign policy. Ang problema lang ang Pilipinas kasi mag-a-adjust siguro ang Marcos administration depende sa kanila. Of course kasi sila ang nasa administration ngayon kung sino ang manalo. Kasi malaki ang shift, malaki ang impact then, and especially when you talk about security and defense. And if ang malaking question kasi sa current administration ni Marcos would come into power anytime soon if Trump wins.
Yes po.
Would the Philippines be backed up still by the United States when it comes to our dispute in the South China Sea vis-a-vis China? And would it be backed up still if we will have some kind of hindi magandang relation with other major power like Russia, especially when you talk about yung missile defense na system na naka-deploy pa rin sa Pilipinas, which Russia is reacting. Would the United States be backing us up still or not if Trump would be the president of the United States after today? So yun yung malaking question din eh. So kaya medyo naiiba ang Pilipinas at this time. Hindi ko sinasabi forever. Sinasabi ko lang under a Marcos administration.
Ayan, Prof. Tanggap muna po tayo ng updates sa kasalukuyang nangyayaring US presidential elections. Makakasama natin si Jimmy Olas, ang ating SMNI USA correspondent, live mula sa New York. Jimmy.
Hello, good evening to those there in Manila and good morning coming from the Empire State. So we are here in White Plains, New York. I am standing in front of a City Hall where the polls had opened as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. So lots of voters will be making their way here throughout the day until it closes at 9 p.m. Compared to last year's or last election, this year, many voters have used the opportunity and taken advantage of the mail-in ballots and early voting. So as you can see, it's not as crowded as you would expect for an presidential election, but the polls are open throughout the day, and we're expecting a big turnout for the state of New York. So New York represents 28 electoral votes, and whoever wins New York is a little bit has steps closer into winning the presidential election. So we think we are very lucky to be able to stand in see the people, despite the weather conditions. It's cloudy and gloomy right now, expecting rain a little bit later on, but we know that, the polls will be open throughout the day and voters will make their way over here.
Thank you, Jim Ray Olas, reporting live from New York, USA.
Doon sa likod ni Jim Ray, 6 a.m. hanggang 9 p.m. Maaga pala sila, no?
Maaga.
Tayo dito, anong oras ba? 7 a.m.? Tama ba? 7 a.m. hanggang alas 5 ng hapon, Prof, no? At dito, Prof, sa yung, kasi marami din tayong mga migrants at mga immigrants mula dito sa Pilipinas. At hindi ba ito magiging challenge ulit? Hindi lang mga Pilipino, kahit na ibang mga races. Sa sandaling naman ang manalo, si dating President Donald Trump. Kasi ito rin yung issue, di ba, dati. Well, talagang sa kanya, America first, no? Mas gusto niya, priority talaga, bigyan ng trabaho, imbis na yung nasa labas ng Amerika. Sa tingin mo, ito rin yung possible din mangyari sa sandaling manalo ulit si US President Trump? Pa-unmute lang po.
Okay. I think there would be a possibility na magkaroon ng medyo adverse na, how do you call that, adverse impact doon sa tinatawag mong migrants sa Amerika, no, yung mga immigrants, especially yung illegal immigrants or illegal migrants. Kasi Trump, even before sa first presidency niya and even now, ang niya talaga, ang stand niya sa malakas ang kanyang stand against yung illegal migration or even migration for that matter. Kasi nga, ang naiisip ni Trump lagi is it competes, no? Yung itong mga immigrants ay nagko-compete sila when you talk about resources, when you talk about job opportunities with Americans per se, especially the Caucasian ones, the Americans really. So, ang tingin ko, if in any case Trump wins, ang magkakaroon niya ng impact kung si Trump talaga ay magiging strict sa kanyang immigration policy, domestically speaking. So, probably yung ating mga kababayan na Pilipino na hindi legal sa Amerika, which is yan ang isa sa mga totoo naman na maraming Pinoy na TNT or illegal sa Amerika, yung iba na hindi masyado to sa Amerika would be impacted, would be affected adversely. Kung push ni Trump ang strong immigration policy against this kind of status ng mga migrants sa Amerika, even affected dyan hindi lang Pilipino, ibang mga lahi din maapektuhan. On the other hand, pero yung mga Filipino-Americans naman, I think na legal talaga sa Amerika and they've been in America for the longest time and may stable na job, I don't think they will be affected that much. Ang maapektuhan lang yan is yung mga medyo di ganun medyo questionable ang stay sa Amerika, I think. No? Yun yung tingin ko. Saka hindi naman din ang mga Filipino-Americans talaga ang natatarget ng tinatawag mong strong immigrant policy na against immigration ni Trump. It's more the border countries na mayroon ang mayroon ang Amerika. Kasi ang Amerika is border countries. Ang border country niya, isa sa mga countries na border niya is Mexico. So doon siya naka-focus kasi yung pag-cross ng border na hindi ayaw niya 'yon Ayaw niya ng nakaka-cross ng border lang ng ganun-ganun kadali. Tapos nagkakaroon ng influx of immigrants in the United States. And of course, the United States has to handle that. Kasi hindi lang yan usapin na lalaki yung population mo, usapin din yan ng financing Kasi syempre, kapag nasa country mo yan, they need to be responsible. Paano yung mga yan? Saan mo sila i-house? Of course, they would need jobs, they would need food and all of these things. So nagiging problema, I'm not saying na we should not be, I'm not saying that Americans are not human in kind of human rights because of this strong immigration policy against immigrants. But what I'm saying is, if you really look at the situation in a very pragmatic sense, no, pragmatic, practical, kapag leader ka, may cost talaga yan doon sa host country. Mayroon talaga kasing humanitarian consideration. Doon kini-question si Trump.
Opo.
Actually, pagdating sa kanyang strong immigration against immigrants policy.
Opo. Prof,
Pero hindi ako nangangamba sa Filipino-Americans kasi illegal na yan
Oo.
Yung mga illegal lang siguro ang maapektuhan dyan.
Pero pagdating naman po sa ekonomiya, meron po ba, recently lang, meron po ba tayong na-monitor na mga investments, yung mga bago yung investments from America dito sa Pilipinas? Kasi kung titignan natin, Prof, for example na lang yung Google company. Grabe na yung investment sa mga kapitbahay natin dito sa Southeast Asia. Sa akin po ba, may mga recent ba na mga investments na papasok dito sa Pilipinas mula sa Amerika? And ito bang anumang resulta dito sa US presidential elections, Prof, meron ba yung direktang impluensya o meron ba tayong aasahan sa Trump presidency o Harris presidency?
I am not aware of I did, pero I don't know. Pero based dun sa mga nababasa ko so far, I'm not aware of any kind of huge, serious investment from the United States or businesses from the United States coming into the Philippines. Na seryoso talaga na pupunta talaga mag-i-implement ng ng kanilang business doon at papalawigin and all. Thus far wala akong alam or na-monitor as far as I'm concerned. I'm not sure if I am wrong. Probably I'm not aware of if mayroon. Pero ako, as far as I know, wala akong alam na pumasok. Like, for example, Microsoft or even serious na malalaking industriya ba na papasok sa Pilipinas, mag-i-invest talaga. Kasi ang namomonitor ko, is yung mga malalaking kumpanya na pumupunta sa Vietnam, Malaysia, at Thailand from the United States. Mas sila ang nagbe-benefit ngayon And even, they benefit from both sides from China and the United States So sa Pilipinas, hindi ko alam kung meron. As far as I know, kung seryoso at malaking industriya, wala akong alam na pumapasok at papasok sa Pilipinas. Probably meron pero maliliit siguro or mayroong mga... Kasi ang naalam ko at ang nakikita ko kasi when you talk about our relationship with the United States and the claim that it is ironclad and it's strong under a Biden administration, under a Marcos administration, most of the financing coming from the United States really is, it goes to military spending and security. Mas ganon kasi tayo. Like, upgrading of facilities na may kinalaman sa EDCA, doon pumapasok ang pondo na galing sa Amerika So, mas ganun siya. Kasi yun nga sinasabi ko, when you talk about relationship with the United States, why is it that we can ask them for financial investment or business investment in the country na seryoso? At yung malaki talagang mga kumpanya na they would be able to employ Filipinos in the country, not outside the country but inside the country. Pero so far, under a Marcos Jr. and a Biden administration, ang nakikita ko talaga, it's really more on security financing and military financing na pumapasok sa Pilipinas. Now, if you ask me what will happen under a Harris administration, as I've said, it's the foreign policy will security and military aid and probably support coming from the United States and strengthening of our alliance, military alliance. Kapag si Harris ang nanalo, on Trump naman, that remains to be seen. Kasi ang alam ko talaga kay Trump, mag-recalibrate yan. Even when it comes to defense-wise and military spending-wise na binibigay sa Pilipinas, mag-recalibrate yan to the point na baka downgraded pa yan ang mangyari. When it comes to economics naman, kay Trump talaga na mention niya ang Pilipinas. I'm not sure. Maybe Val can enlighten us if in any case, in the campaign period, Trump in any way was able to, when you talk about economic investment, financial investment, kasi so far from my monitoring, wala akong narinig na ganun So I'm not really sure what will be Trump economic policy towards the Philippines. Ang alam ko lang, the downgrade recalibration, and in terms of economic policy ni Trump, the tendency to be protectionist is huge, to protect America. And for America, it boils down again to America first. So yun yung tingin ko. Wala ako masyadong kay Trump when you talk about economic, when you talk kung may kinalaman sa Pilipinas, hindi malinaw kasi masyado eh.
Ang alam ko lang na may ginawa ang Estados Unidos para sa Pilipinas, pinatawan tayo ng 538% na tax doon sa mga mattresses natin, no? So ito yung ito yung resulta ng ironclad commitment natin sa kanila. Tapos yung ironclad commitment, marami ng mga US companies, mga malalaki, ang muntik na dito nag-invest sa Pilipinas, pero nandito sa Southeast Asia yung mga Malaysia, Indonesia. Hindi sila tumuloy dito. Kumbaga yung Amazon, Google at iba pa, lalo na sa IT, muntik na nga. Kaya sabi ko muntik na kasi kapitbahay natin eh. Mga kapitbahay doon napunta yung mga investment. Now dito naman po sa usapin ng de-dollarization, Prof, kasi ano na ito eh, unti-unti na itong umuugong. Tapos dito sa pagdami rin ng sumasama sa BRICS, no? Yung kapitbahay din natin, yung Malaysia, Thailand ata and Indonesia nagpahayag na, no? Ang Pilipinas na lang ata ang wala. Pero yung pagnanais ba, nakikita mo meron? Or tali tayo? Dahil parang ito yung lumalabas eh, parang tali ang Pilipinas sa Estados Unidos para makapagkuha tayo ng mas malawak din na market. Kasi itong BRICS na ito, kahit yung BRICS lang, wala pa yung iba pang mga bansa na sumali dito. Bilyon-bilyon na. China nga alone is bilyon na yung population market mo dyan. How much more yung iba, yung Brazil, ano ba yung Russia, India, China, and South Africa, at saka yung iba pang mga bansa, Prof.
Yun na nga eh, yun nga ang sinasabi ko. Why is it that the Philippines is not even inclined to join BRICS? BRICS is now emerging as the strongest, you know. In a matter of time, the future really is BRICS, to be very honest, not the G7. Na-overcome na ng BRICS in terms of GDP per capita and even GDP in terms of earnings and revenue. You know, yung laki ng ekonomiya ng BRICS as compared to G7, mas mataas at mas malaki na yung BRICS. Kaya lahat ng countries right now, ma-Africa man yan, Latin America man yan, ma-Asia man yan, lahat gustong sumali sa BRICS. At sinasabi mo nga sa akin kanina, totoo yun. Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand, actually nag-signify na sila na magpapamembro sila sa BRICS. And probably in the next summit of BRICS, kasi katatapos lang ngayon, sa next summit, they will be recognized as official member of BRICS. Pero ngayon, hindi pa official member, but they are already there, they're already listed. And why are they into this BRICS? Itong mga karatig bansa natin na Southeast Asian. Precisely because BRICS is the members of BRICS, especially the expanded members, kasi may expansion eh. Kasama na dyan ang Ethiopia, I think, UAE, Saudi Arabia, I think, even yung mga oil-producing countries, malalaking oil-producing countries, partner ng BRICS. Expanded na ang membership niyan eh. So if you really look at BRICS with the expansion of the membership, at saka mayroon ka ng mga partners na tulad nitong 4 na Southeast Asian countries, these are the emerging economies. And when you talk about emerging economies, ito din ang mga strong economies na buong mundo. So ibig sabihin, malaki ang potential mo when you talk about economic benefits. Kasi unang-una, when you talk about market, ibig sabihin, saan ka pwedeng mag-export ng mga produkto mo, ang BRICS ang may pinakamalaking market sa buong mundo. Kasi sabi mo nga, India pa lang at China, i-combine mo ang population, i-combine mo ang geography nila, malaki na. Nandyan pa yung South Korea, South Africa, andyan ang Russia, andyan ang Brazil. And they are representing different continents. So, kung magiging membro ka niyan or maging partner ka man lang initially, you will benefit from the market. aside from the market for your export, you can also benefit from the imports na pwede mong makuha sa mga countries na to na ngayon, they are having this move and push na magkaroon ng tinatawag mong de-dollarization. Ano yun? Ibig sabihin, these countries are now trying not to use dollars in their international trade or bilateral trade transaction. And they would accept certain currency na like yuan, like ruble, na or yung local currency nila na pwede ka mag-trade without using the dollar. So, ibig sabihin, mas mura yun. Kasi currency mo, tapos babayaran mo yung mga ini-import mo from other countries using the dollar. So, ito, parang sinasabi na let's do away with the dollar, let's use our own currency or certain currency na mayroon yung BRICS. And one more thing, yung BRICS mayroon na silang sariling bangko, yung New Development Bank. That's a BRICS bank that you can actually access loans for your infrastructure and if you need investment and capital, when you talk about infrastructure development of your country, and when you talk about technology and all of these things, pwede kang mangutang doon or pwede ka na walang strings attached na tulad ng IMF and World Bank na kapag nangutang ka, may binibigay silang structural policies na babaguhin nila ang structure ng ekonomiya mo na kung saan hindi naman nararapat, hindi angkop sa sarili mong ekonomiya or yung konteksto mo. So ito, ang BRICS, may sariling bangko na yan. And another note, hindi lang markets, hindi lang finances, hindi lang investment and capital ang pwede mong ma-source sa BRICS country. Another thing is what you call technology transfer. See, the more you interact with BRICS, the more technology transfer, technical know-how, you can access that to develop your economy, especially when you talk about the new buzzword in the world right now, green transition. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng green transition? Green technology, kasi mayroon kang issue ng climate change. Ito yung mga leading, ang China ang leading when you talk about green energy transition and green technology. Andyan ang India when you talk about information technology. Andyan ang Brazil when you talk about agriculture. Alam mo yon, ito yung mga countries that the Philippines can access if you're a member of BRICS. But the problem with the Philippines is America will not allow the Philippines to be part of BRICS. That's the problem. Why? Because we're an ally. We're a treaty ally of America. And America, at malaki yung hold at influence ng America sa Pilipinas. And as long as America will have that strong influence on our foreign policy and even on our side as a country, especially under BBM's government, we will lose a lot of opportunities of not being a member of BRICS or even signifying to be part of BRICS. Hindi lang BRICS, even the Belt and Road Initiative, the Philippines is not a member to it. Kasi nag-withdraw ata tayo under Marcos Jr. administration precisely because of American influence. So, sayang. Sayang yung opportunity for us. Sayang kasi we should have a more balanced approach to our foreign policy. Because alam mo, isa pa ang magandang sitwasyon kung kasama ka sa BRICS, no? Like for example, the Philippines will be part of BRICS. Mayroon kang tinatawag na space to maneuver and leverage BRICS against other powers like the United States. Kasi may kakampi ka eh. Like for example, if United States will be imposing and pressuring you on something, you can say no. Why? Because you have the backing of the BRICS country. Hindi ka na dependent sa kanila na kapag walang Amerika, baka mag-collapse yung economy mo or whatsoever because you have BRICS country backing you up. Because the BRICS country are representing the voice of the Global South. And the Philippines is a developing economy. It's part of the Global South. So yun ang malaking opportunity in many, many ways na mawawala sa Pilipinas if we will not, in any case, apply or at least signify an interest to be part of BRICS. So yun sana maganda eh. Kaso, under a Marcos administration, tapos kung continue ang kanyang foreign policy, very much leaning to the United States, and America will have a huge influence on us. And America will not allow us to be part of BRICS that we can actually get. And we can country, expanded BRICS country. Take note, Admar, ang BRICS country din, ang membership niyan ay oil producing countries. So ibig sabihin, when you talk about oil and other energy products, mayroon kang leverage to negotiate na sana mura na lang or sana bibilhin namin yung produkto ng oil ninyo using our own currency, not the dollar anymore. Sayang eh. Isa yun sa pinakamalaking malaking advantage sana natin kung tayo magiging member ng BRICS kasi tayo na-generate enough energy for our own consumption. So maganda sana kung magkakaroon tayo ng membership sa BRICS para ma-leverage natin ang oil-producing countries that are members of BRICS. Makakamura pa tayo at magkakaroon tayong magandang relationship, di ba? Magiging energy secure pa siguro tayo. Both green and traditional sources of energy.
Nakalimutan ko lang kung ano yung nasagot ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos nung tinanong itong BRICS nung panahon ng SMNI presidential debate. Siguro masisearch ko kung ano yung kanyang naging ano doon kasi doon sumikat din sa buong Pilipinas yung BRICS sa tanong ni Professor Clarita Carlos. Pero minsan na nating naungusan itong mga bansang ito, yet sila yung nanguna. Bakit sila napili nila na pagnanais na pumasok dito sa BRICS? Maliban pa rito, meron pang ibang mga bansa na nabanggit mo, Prof, na mga oil-producing countries din. Kasi yung unang nabanggit, yung Kazakhstan, kabilang din dyan. Algeria, Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Nigeria, Turkey, Uganda at Uzbekistan. Sinasabi nga ng Malaysian Foreign Affairs Minister, merong 3.2 billion na population ang kabilang na sa iyong trade opportunities dito sa mga saklaw or sakop or kasama dito sa BRICS. Prof, ito yung natin, kumbaga market na kulang tayo, nawawalan na nga tayo ng market. Wala na nga tayong market dito sa China doon sa ating mga, tawag nito, saging, durian, at iba pang mga produkto. Yung nag-export, iba pang export natin na matrices, pinatawan pa tayo ng 5 beses na taas ng taripa. So, ito ngayon ang nawala sa atin. Pero bago mo sagutin yan, Prof, yung magbigay ng opinion, dako muna tayo sa Clarksville, Tennessee, USA, kasama si Princess Laranas, ang ating USA correspondent. Princess, magandang gabi mula dito sa Pilipinas.
Hello, magandang gabi dyan sa inyo, kapartner Admar, kapartner Jayson, and to Attorney Ana. At magandang umaga naman dito sa Clarksville, Tennessee. At sa buong mundo na nanonood ngayon sa atin. So narito kami ngayon sa isa sa mga polling stations at masusing minomonitor ang mga botohan dito sa buong lungsod at of course sa kabuuan dito sa bansang Amerika. And we know, kanina pa kami mga 6:30 a.m. Jayson and Admar, no? At talaga nakita na namin na meron ng mga excited na nakapila. And officially nag-open ang poll 7 a.m. and it will be open until 7 p.m. lang tonight. No? So malalaman naman natin, ang Tennessee ay kinukonsidera bilang isang Republican state. At maalala natin na kahit noong 2020 pa na elections, nakuha na ni Trump ang 11 electoral votes ng Tennessee. So ngayon, ayon sa mga projection ng mga political analysts, posibleng mananatili pa rin na Republican ang estado Tennessee.
So sa kasalukuyan ba, Princess, dyan sa mga ganap sa iyong kinaroroonan ngayon, mga anong oras kaya ang posibleng dagsa ng tao o talagang sadyang ganyan lang kaorganisado, hindi kagaya dito sa Pilipinas na unang oras pa lang talagang dinudumog na yung mga polling precinct?
Actually, no, Admar, napaka-organized talaga dito sa Amerika kasi actually, meron kasing early voting. So 2 weeks pa lang, may mga nagvo-vote na ng mga citizens dito sa Amerika. Kaya on this day, makikita natin na hindi na masyadong crowded, hindi na masyadong yung talagang stampede na mga maraming pila. Pero it's so fast, it's so smooth, at wala pa namang nabalitaan na mga masamang mga nangyayari. Admar.
Huli na lang kasi napansin ko doon sa Houston, sa yung isa, New York, medyo masungit yung panahon at tsaka palang gumaganda. Diyan ba sa lugar ninyo, meron bang mga pag-ulan na pwedeng sabihin ng mga botante, wait muna ako dito? Or iba yung weather diyan?
Actually, ang weather forecast kanina or kagabi, it's supposed to be rain dito sa Tennessee also. Pero talagang binigyan ng Ama ng pagkakataon na maganda ang weather at talagang maka-express ng freedom ang lahat ng mga citizens na maka-vote. Biglang uminit at talagang humangin dito sa Clarksville, Tennessee, Admar.
Pero wala namang yung mga supporters ng dalawang panig, bawal na ba sila na mag-voice out pa, mag-promote sa mismo araw na
Wala na, Admar. Wala nang mga ano-ano dyan sa tabi-tabi.
Ayan, maraming
so it's
salamat.
all organized and it's so smooth ang election dito sa Clarksville, Tennessee.
Ayan, maraming salamat si Princess Laranas, ang correspondent natin sa SMNI USA dyan po sa Tennessee sa Estados Unidos. Prop, doon sa naudlot ko, anong masasabi mo doon sa mga nabanggit natin ng mga bansa pa? Baka may maidagdag ka doon. Kasi ang sinabi pa dito, dagdag ko na lang nagre-representa daw itong mga miyembro ng nitong BRICS sa 28.5 trillion US dollars or 28% ng global economy. Malaki ito, Prop.
Yes, that's right. Malaki yan. Oo. Malaking-malaki yan compared sa G7. By the way, just to add, ang iba pang countries na member ng BRICS ay Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.
Ako.
So,
Yun yung
aside from
mga
those
nauna.
na na-mention mo, sila yung mga nauna, sila na-recognize this 2024 summit sa Kasan. At sila yun. Look at the composition. Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia alone, when you talk about oil, diba? Producing countries, diba? So, malaki ang ekonomiya at malaki talaga ang bintahe if a country will be part of BRICS. Kasi, para kang nasali sa isang pamilya na if in any case nagkakaproblema ka sa country, the rest of the other members will try to help you out. Kasi ganun ang mantra ng BRICS eh. We develop together, win-win as BRICS is help each other. Dapat lahat ng gagawin nila as a group will be win-win. Ibig sabihin lahat panalo. Hindi man the same ang maging revenue mo or take mo, pero lahat kayo panalo. Yun yung nila mantra eh. So, ibig sabihin, if you're part of it, greater extent, panalo ka. Kasi hindi lang natutulungan ka, ibig sabihin, ang philosophy kasi na ini-embody ng BRICS is win-win partnership, win-win cooperation. So, ganun siya eh. So, I really hope na magkaroon ng recalibration ang Pilipinas. No? Hindi ko alam kung mangyayari yan during Marcos Jr. administration. Pero, 6 years naman si Marcos dyan eh. Hindi naman, hopefully hindi siya forever. So if in any case a new leader will be in power in the Philippines, siguro naman magkaroon ng ganung vision, no? Na we should have a balanced foreign policy and we should not be dictated by any superpower kung ano ang gusto natin at kung saan tayo pwedeng sumali that would benefit the country. And one more, Admar, na may news pala na hindi ko alam kung alam mo na. When you talk about China, China is one of the biggest and the most important market in the world. Ang China market. Pagdating sa banana, ang China, ang number one na source of imports ng China when you talk about bananas is ang banana natin. Kasi ang banana natin so far as I know, is the best in the world, and even in Asia. Kaya nga masarap at maraming, ang banana natin, number one yan when you talk about export natin sa China. Alam mo ba kung ano nangyari? China is already importing banana from Laos. So, ibig sabihin, in a matter of time, bibitawan ng China ang importation niya ng banana sa Pilipinas. Nagda-diversify na siya. Which is a very sad reality. Kasi ang banana natin, masarap, talagang very attractive yan ng mga Chinese. Ang Philippine banana. Pero right now, siguro, it's precisely because our political relationship with China and our diplomatic relationship is not as good as the previous administration, nagda-diversify din ang China when you talk about its source of imports.
Opo.
Especially agricultural products.
Eh,
Kasi ang balita sa akin, Laos na daw. Sa Laos, nag-import na sila.
Tayo nga dito, pag nagkasobra-sobra yung mga ano natin, di ba? Mga gulay, tinatapon na lang, kamatis, patatas, itinatapon na lang. Eh baka ang susunod na itatapon ito, itong mga saging. Dapat meron ng alternatibo rin na gawin ang ating pamahalaan kung talagang wala na yung magandang relasyon natin na nag-export tayo ng saging dyan po sa China, no? At meron pa tayong isang report na tatanggapin at maya-maya Prof ay inayos lang natin yung ating sa kanila linya ng komunikasyon. Pero yun nga Prof, malaking sayang ito kasi maliban dyan sa saging, meron din tayong di ba? Durian, pinya, at ano lang ang Laos. Hindi naman sa pagmamasama pero
Durian,
di ba?
Pinya, at saka mas better naman tayo. I mean, hindi naman sa, I mean, you know, hindi naman ibig sinasabi na mas magaling tayo or that. Pero really, sa Southeast Asia, in terms of ranking, ang Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, nasa baba yan eh. Medyo mababa yan eh. Pero ngayon, nagde-develop kasi talaga sila na, I'm not kidding, kasi nagta-travel din ako sa mga bansang yan, nakikita ko talaga, they're really developing, ang infrastructure nila nag-improve, and also yung kanilang agricultural export and agricultural sector nag-improve talaga. Pero there's a common ground among these countries, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos. Kasi ang Vietnam medyo mataas na eh, wala na siya dun sa level nila eh. Ang common ground nila, ang common denominator nila, alam mo Admar kung ano, China investment and China imports. China imports kasi malaki ang market ng China, so nag-export sila sa China. And when you talk about infrastructure investment, physical infrastructure like road, bridges, mga airports, mga building, even ang government nila, na mga offices. Oo. At saka even yung mga technology, internet, infrastructure, yung mga information technology infrastructure, it's really from China.
Baka malay mo, Prof.
Speed, kanina nabanggit, nakikinig ako kay Attorney Kay eh.
Prof, baka malay mo yung...
By the way, kanina kay Attorney Kay, sinasabi niya yung speed train at saka railway.
Malay mo yung bumili na ng mga saging or bibili na ng mga saging ang Estados Unidos na Prof, kaya wala na tayo sa China. Sila na ang bibili ng ating mga saging. Pero meron lang tayong isang report na isisingit, Prof, mula pala dyan sa Houston, Texas. Mga huling kaganapan dyan ihahatid ni Noylan de Gracia. Noylan, magandang gabi mula dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes, kapartner Admar. Magandang umaga dito sa Houston, Texas at magandang gabi dyan sa Pilipinas. Admar and Jayson, kahit maaga pa dito, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pagdating ng mga tao. At nakausap din natin yung mga ibang botante, excited sila na suportahan ang kanilang mga kandidato. At Admar at Jayson, sa ngayon wala pa tayong nakausap ng mga Filipino-American voters. Pero in-expect pa rin natin na dadami pa ang darating ng mga botante dito ngayon dahil nga ang panahon natin dito ngayon sa Texas ay maulan. So kaya in-expect pa natin na dadami pa ang pupunta ngayon dito sa polling station na to. At ngayon din, milyon-milyong Amerikano ang nagbabahagi ng parehong pag-asa para sa kanilang napiling kandidato kaya't hindi na sila makapaghihintay na gamitin ang kanilang karapatan na bumuto ngayon. Back to you, Admar and Jayson.
Maraming salamat si Noylan de Gracia sa mga huling update dyan po sa Estados Unidos. Ganap na palang anong oras na dyan sa magtatanghali na ba? Dyan sa 10:17. Alas 10 na po ng umaga and dahil nga sa medyo pangit ng panahon kaya nga siguro wala pang lumalabas. Siguro mamaya kasi hanggang alas 6 pa yata doon sa USA time ang huling oras sa pagboto. Siguro Prof, bilang panghuli na lang sa ating mga kababayang nanonood, ano bang dapat na ikonsidera nila? At sa atin din dito sa Pilipinas ay palapit na rin yung ating eleksyon at baga meron kang mga mga tips para sa pagpili natin sa mga susunod na leader ng ating bansa na makakatulong talaga, yung parang kagaya kay Pastor na talagang merong pagmamahal sa bayan. Prof, pa-unmute lang.
Tama ka, Admar. Kasi malapit na rin yung midterm election natin. That would be May 2025. At klarado naman kung sino mga tumatakbo sa Senado. At syempre may local election kasama na dyan yung congressional congress, no? Yung members of congress. Ang siguro, ang ating mga kababayan, siguro mag-isip-isip tayo, no? We should have leaders in government na talagang may malasakit sa Pilipinas at sa Pilipino at may competence. Kailangan natin ng may competence at at mga leaders or elected official na may alam din kung ano ang nangyayari sa mundo at kung paano iaakma ang domestic policy natin sa nangyayari din sa mundo at paano yung pagbabalanse ng ating foreign policy. Kasi ang Pilipinas ay you're not an island, kumbaga. Ang lahat, kung anong nangyayari sa mundo, it impacts the Philippines. And kahit na ang Pilipinas hindi naman ganun kayaman at kaliit na bansa, kung ano din ang iyong foreign policy, kung hindi ka rin independent, hindi balanse, you may cause also negative impact sa buong mundo. Especially tulad ngayon, under a Marcos Jr. foreign policy na very leaning to the United States, nagkakaroon ng anxiety ang mga countries in Asia Pacific precisely because they're afraid that we will be used as a proxy and what happens in Ukraine may happens to us. So may ganun din na mga anxiety ang ating mga counterparts in Asia Pacific na mga bansa. Pero yun nga, crucial nga ito ng US presidential election kasi everything will change in terms of how the United States will deal with us, depende kung sino ang mananalo. Pero siguro ang ano ko lang sa Pilipinas, we should not have this problem. Kasi dapat ang Pilipinas, sino mang manalo na sa eleksyon ng Amerika, dapat steady lang tayo Steady lang tayo, kaya natin. Hindi tayo apektado masyado. Hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng anxiousness kung sino ang mananalo sa Amerika. Dapat wala. Kumbaga, we're ready to deal with whoever. Kaso, under a Marcos Jr. administration, medyo may anxiousness, medyo may excitement. Kasi alam natin na may impact sa Pilipinas talaga. Kung Trump wins or if Harris wins. Pero mas pa ako doon sa Trump wins Kasi kapag si Trump ang nanalo, ay meron may mga shift, may mga changes yan, may mga shifts yan na would impact the country, may it be positively or negatively. Pero it's more about adverse impact siguro. But it's really on the security side. So ganun siya. At sana, ang ating mga kababayan, ngayon may time pa, malaki pa yung time natin kasi ano pala ngayon November, December, January, February, March, April. We have 6 months before the midterm election. So we have 6 months to para i-scrutinize mo sino ba ang mga tumatakbo dyan. Ano ba ang kanilang track record? Mayroon ba silang competence? May level of education ba niyan? Naniniwala kasi ako sa edukasyon na it really molds the mind of a person kung may proper education ka. May impact yan sa pag-iisip ng tao So, at saka yung sincerity to serve the country, dapat lahat yun nandun at competence talaga. So sana naman, bigyan natin ng importansya ang eleksyon ng Pilipinas. Hindi siya dapat maging bara-bara, hindi siya dapat na, okay, ito siya kasi malaki ang binigay sa akin. So, kasi may ganun dynamic sa Pilipinas may ganun talaga. So, I really hope that this time, Filipinos will wake up. Na, you put people in position kung sino talaga ang nararapat. At, you should have your own criteria of choosing based on what you think is, criteria na malinaw. Hindi yung tipong kung sino yung malaking binigay, yun ang boboto mo. Mahirap yun. So may 6 months tayo to scrutinize the candidates that we have for midterm election. Sana gamitin natin yung span of time na yan to choose the right people in position. At kanina, yung vision ni Pastor pala kanina, naririnig ko si Attorney K, that's really I agree with the vision at I agree na yung infrastructure is really good kasi iyan ang kailangan ng Pilipinas talaga. At saka yung tinatawag kanina ni Attorney Kay na bullet trains and railway, it's important kasi sa Southeast Asia, by the way, tayo na lang ang wala nga tayong subway. Indonesia already have a bullet train. Laos, they do. Thailand is upcoming. Mayroon na ang Thailand. May mga negotiation na even Malaysia is negotiating already with China on that. So parang nahuhuli ang Pilipinas na dapat hindi. Ang bullet train, ang railway is a very important transportation mechanism or vehicle that will connect the whole Philippines. And it's very, very important na makonect ang Pilipinas kasi island tayo. That would really benefit the country economically, especially when you talk about transfer of goods and services and people. So that's even just one. Marami pa yan. So thank you again everyone for inviting me.
Damo nga salamat sa ulitin. Amping sa kanunay, ingat palagi. Si Professor Ana Malindog.
Take care. God bless.
Ayan, isang geopolitical analyst po ang ating nakasama partner Jayson.
Samantala, kapartner Admar at mga kapartner, still with us is Valerie Lascano from the USA. Val, may we have your last message for all of those who are watching us right now?
Thank you, Jason. And going back to the PhilAm population here in the U.S., surveys project that more PhilAms favor Harris over Trump. But then again, it all boils down to the result of the electoral vote in their state. So again, we encourage everyone to exercise their right to vote because this is the way that we get our voices heard. We must not waste our gift of democracy for the benefit of not only this generation, but the next to come.
Maraming salamat si kapartner Valerie Lascano, ang USA correspondent po ng SMNI. At kami rin po ay magpapaalam na at bago lang tayo tuluyang magtapos dahil ngayon ay Wednesday na. Ilang araw na lang, partner Jayson, bago magpasko at magbigay ka ng regalo.
Para sa ating Christmas countdown, 49 days na lang mga kapartners. At Pasko na. Ayun. Pasko na.
Pasko na. Ayan, at syempre dun sa mga natin dyan sa Estados Unidos, 49 days to go na lang.
Alam nyo na yung mga ihahanda.
Hindi kasi maghahanda yan sila kasi mag-i-snow na rin sa kanila. Samayin nyo po ang programang SMNI Nightline News. Ngayon pong gabi hanggang madaling araw po dahil tinutukan po natin yung election dyan sa Estados Unidos. Samahan nyo po ulit kami. Bukas, 9:30 pa rin po, gabi-gabi po tayo, dito pa rin sa SMNI News Channel sa pangalan ng buong puwersa ng SMNI. Patuloy po kami at hindi titigil sa paghatid po ng mga balita at impormasyong totoo, tunay na public service